Welcome into another live stream here on Fantasy Filmball. My name is Dyl, and today I'm not going to be rocking solo. We're going to have some special guests joining us here in just a few minutes. But before we get them in, and as some more people start to flow in here to this week's live stream, let's do our normal weekly intro ramble, everything fun like that. First off, I want to give a massive shout out to all of you out there each and every week dropping in here. You all are the best. I love spending a few hours every week with each one of you, just chatting up. But before I forget, let's throw up our favorite weekly graphics. We have our questions graphic as well as our updates on awards expert. We throw this up each and every week, and you can kind of see small changes throughout awards season with over 5,000 plus users on the awards expert platform. But as you see, there's not much movement. Project Hail Mary's up. Dune Part 3 is down, but some small things, here and there. But obviously today we're going to be diving into the official Cannes Film Festival lineup. The competition slate has officially been announced, and I'm sure there's a ton to talk about with this year's very, international skewing lineup. But for me, at least, it looks very, intriguing and everything. But we also have our official social reactions for Michael. They've been dropped, and they seem pretty near unanimous praise. I know social reactions tend to be on the more positive side, but these seem especially high. Maybe, I'm a little biased, but I'm inclined to believe that this means the movie is going to be at least good for its core demo and could be a huge Oscar player. I also had the opportunity to see an I Love Boosters Q&A with the one, the only Boots Riley. I'll have a review up on the channel shortly, but since the movie doesn't come out for like 7 more weeks, I'm going to hold off on releasing that just a little bit because I Love Boosters is a film that's kind of hard to talk about without diving into like spoilers of the themes and the topics that Boots wants to explore. And it's a film I feel like all of you out there should kind of see first on your own. But this intro is on the lighter side today because we have some very special guests. So let's not waste any time. Let's get them in here. Look who's here for the first time. We have
special
Matt,
guests, and
Arno.
It's just people who are regularly on the channel, but never on one of the live streams. That's new.
That is new. Let me get this banner off the way so we can actually see you, Matt. There we go. There we go.
See my beard at this point.
Hey, the chat on Reddit, they loved your beard.
I know. I'm getting Jesus look anointed at this point.
But Matt, Arno, how are y'all doing today?
Good. Very, very excited. I told you this just before the live started, but honestly, I'm so excited about just discussing the Cannes lineup. These last 2 or 3 days, I've even had like trouble concentrating at work. I'm just thinking about it all the time.
Well, that's exactly why I want to have you all on here, is because y'all two are actually going to France, to Cannes, on the ground, seeing not just a competition lineup, but a lot of movies. I think last year y'all both logged over 40, 50 maybe even movies. Was it that high?
I think I got like mid-30s last year.
30s.
Normally,
30s is still a lot.
But Cannes, I didn't get that high.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, last year we might talk. Okay, I'll just say we'll talk a little bit about our plans, like for Fantasy Filmball, for the videos we'll be creating at Cannes. Last year we had the very ambitious project that I hope you followed, which is the Cannes Canon, which was like these videos that we filmed even ahead of time, talking about the auteurs, and then we would make these videos every 2 days. That would be in conversation with these videos about the new films with these auteurs. That was a lot of work, a lot of editing beforehand, also during the festival, and it meant that we only saw 30 plus films, only, whereas some people were able to stack up 60 films or something. So I don't think we'll get to 60, but this year we are lightening the load, the workload. We are doing something a little bit more streamlined. We're not doing something as ambitious, as big as the Cannes Canon. We're happy we did that. We're happy we gave it a shot, and we're proud of what we did. But this year we're doing something a little bit more simple in order to be able to take advantage of the festival a little bit more and see at least a couple more movies. I know I'm going to want to personally look a little bit outside of the films as well, try a little bit more immersive stuff, maybe a couple things outside of the festival as well, but hopefully be able to take advantage of the films a little bit more and sleep a little bit more, just a little bit more. We don't need to have full 8s, but just a little bit more than then 3.5-4 hours of sleep on average every day. That would be nice in order to fully appreciate The Secret Agent the first time and not be sleeping through the second act. So that's kind of how we stand.
I mean, I didn't even appreciate The Secret Agent on the second time. So,
all right.
Well, I guess before we dive into the chat here and talking about Cannes more in depth, I guess we transport ourselves a year ago at this point. The lineup had just been announced. Y'all were very excited to go to the festival, but was there one film last year you were early on or trying to predict, like, hey, this could be our next Palm winner? Because we'll talk about what we think may win this year. But a year ago, what film heading into the fest were you most feeling confident about?
Well, last year it was all about Sound of Falling at first. The buzz was crazy for Sound of Falling right off the bat. And I think it was like that up until the schedule released. Because the schedule released and then Sound of Falling was debuting on the first day, which was like a huge red flag for its chances on, winning something big.
The first film on the first day too.
The first film on the first day, like that's a huge knock against that. So I think we immediately were like, Sound of Falling is going to win. And then when we learned a little bit more and it was scheduled in that first day slot, we swapped. And on the very first day of Cannes, Arno and I's predictions for the winner of the Palm, I said it was just an accident. Arno said The Secret Agent. And I think both of us agreed that if Sentimental Value was good, it would likely be in the running for a prize too.
I think we both also said that Sound of Falling, while it's not Palm anymore, it's going to win something.
Yeah. So that I feel like we were pretty bang on because it seems like those were the top two at the end of the day.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we really messed up our predictions by the end of the festival when we had seen everything.
Yeah, well, I went Sentimental Value, and I was like, because early on, my reasoning for it was just an accident was like, Juliette Binoche is really close with Jafar Panahi. She's expressed that she's a huge fan of him for decades at this point, and this is an opportunity for him to be anointed with the biggest prize in cinema. And then I dropped that after I saw the movie because I wasn't that hot on the film. And so I think I let a little bit of my own personal bias come in, as did you, Arno, because I think by the end you were predicting Surat, which was your favorite film.
Yeah, which was also based on like whether it's our circles or like the noise we were hearing, like it felt like everybody was talking about Surat. And I mean, you took a risk as well, right? At the end of the festival, you didn't like Resurrection, but you said, you know what, that's the Palme d'Or.
Oh, yeah, no, I think I did go Resurrection because I was hearing so much buzz around that one.
So it depends on, even if you don't like a film, you can maybe predict, like, I think it would have been safe, for example, back in 2022 to predict Close for something. Even if you didn't like it, for example, so it depends on, but yeah, we were influenced by what we were hearing, and I think we both kind of felt like it was just an accident, was maybe a little bit too small of a proposition to be the Palme. But it does, I think it does kind of make sense once you see the palmarès and how it from what we've heard, The Secret Agent was another big contender, and it's like the two kind of artistic and mishmash of the artistic and the political, so they kind of went with the more established auteur rather than the newcomer. Well, he's not a newcomer, Filio, but Mendonça Filho, but you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, and just to address, because I see things going by in the chat, someone wants to know our thoughts on Neon having 5 contenders already, which is crazy. Yeah, Neon has just been.
Let's put you on the big screen here.
There we go. Neon's been buying up everything. They have, I think the first thing that they had was Arthur Harari's The Unknown. They also now have All of a Sudden. They have Fjord. They just bought Hope. And what am I forgetting? Oh, Sheep in the Box. So yeah, they have 5 right now, which is crazy, but they are going on this spending streak in advance because they know that there's more competition now. Mubi currently has Fatherland. They have Minotaur. They have. That's it. It's just the 2 of those right now.
But yes, but for now,
buy more probably. And so I think Neon's just going on the offensive right away because they know they're going to be buying up stuff during the festival, but a lot of things will be flying off the shelves. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I think that this is the year that Neon could have their streak break, and I think Neon is terrified of that, just like they were last year.
Yeah.
They bought up everything last year because they were terrified that someone else might outbid them and take the palm away. But who knows?
If I can put this into perspective just a little bit, 2 years ago, so in 2024, Neon by the end of the festival had 3 films. 2024, they were lucky. It was Anora that won the Palme d'Or, a film that they produced themselves. They produced and financed themselves. But just to be safe, the buzz was all over The Seed of the Sacred Fig. They bought that one too. And then there was another film I'm forgetting, but if somebody can remind me, maybe. But I know they had 3 films in 2024. Last year, they had 5. And, with all due respect to It Was Just an Accident, which is a film that I love, I think the streak of the cool palm kind of broke, in that we had a streak of from Parasite to Titan to Triangle of Sadness. They were the cool, accessible kind of films. Palm. It Was Just an Accident doesn't quite fall into the it's a film that you can kind of show to anybody. You know what I mean? And they went into the festival with a film or 2, but they like you said, they were on a spending spree, and Neon having 5 films by the end of the festival was a record for them. They had never we were anticipating, they'll buy 1 or 2 max. They bought they went ahead and bought The Secret Agent. They bought Sarat. They bought It Was Just an Accident. We were kind of surprised. We're like, oh my God, they're just buying and buying and buying. This was by the end of the festival. We just got the announcement of the lineup right now. And even before the lineup was announced, they had 4, which is very close to tying their record. One day after the announcement, they're at 5. They have 5 films right now that they're distributing. We're still a month away from the festival. It's insane that they've already tied their record for number of films in the competition that they're distributing. We're still a month away from the festival. They could still buy another, I don't know, is it crazy to say 2 or 3 more? I don't know. Maybe that's pushing it. But I don't think they're done. Surely they're going to buy at least 1 more.
Yeah, I mean, with the fact that they just bought Hope yesterday says that they're still in the market to buy things. I know that, Arno, you brought up on Discord, which all of you out there can join the link down in the description, that they've been in the conversations to pursue that film since November. So who knows, maybe once the festival starts up, they start buying more things like you said, and it starts coming out hey, there's been more conversations that they've been eyeing these movies for a while. But I guess just to keep going through some of these comments here, Matt, there's been a lot more for you in terms of looking like a 70s De Niro. We got looking like a baby Scorsese. So people are loving the look here. But going back to Arno here, I'm going to put you back up wide. Since you are the international expert, you are the can man. Here's, I guess, a question I have for you is coming over from Maury, is looking at the schedule, finding those key dates that films are premiering in, or oddball ones like Maury's talking about here about Resurrection. What are some dates that we can kind of keep an eye out as they officially announce this film's going day 1, day 2, day 3? Which ones do you think are going to be the big ones to look out for?
Yeah, scheduling is kind of like a metagame tactic where, generally speaking, it's rare to see a Palme d'Or winner be scheduled on the extremities, at the very start or at the very end of the festival. And it's in the last, I think, 6 years, I want to say, the Palme d'Or winner has been within the kind of middle, I want to say 6 or 7 days of the festival. So this is actually kind of a more interesting but very nerdy question than it might sound. Yes. Oh, yeah. Right. So I didn't even mean that one. But I remember even Matt and I were predicting The Seed of the Sacred Fig. We're saying, oh, this is going to be the exception to the rule. No, it was Anora, which was programmed right at the end of the middle kind of portion of the festival. So this is kind of important. I would say I'm looking at the films in competition, and obviously the ones I'm hoping to see perform well, I'm hoping will be programmed towards the middle of the festival. And I'm thinking, oh, this feels kind of like, if we're talking about Hope, for example, that feels a bit like that The Substance type film, where it's going to give a boost of energy to the festival attendees, and so that would make sense to put it in the middle. I'm looking at something like The Unknown, which is that kind of French film with a little bit of U.S. financial backing and a star behind it. That feels like something they could program towards the middle of the fest. I think something like Parallel Tales is, I think, almost confirmed to be very early in the festival, like maybe day 2, because that film is coming out in France at the same time as it's premiering in Cannes, and so it would make sense for it to play on the first Wednesday or the first Thursday, something like that. Fjord could be a surprise, like a little bit like a sentimental value type thing where, it's programmed much later than we anticipated in the schedule. I think that one could surprise us. But this is like a guessing game. It's very hard. It's like pretty much impossible to predict these things. So it's almost useless to even entertain those kind of thoughts. Just like, I don't know, that one feels like it could be, maybe, to answer Maury's question, like what's a film that you think is going to be programmed late that everybody is annoyed at? Yeah, exactly. I think you were complaining, Matt, about Two Prosecutors being late.
Two Prosecutors and Resurrection were the ones for me last year where I was like,
all
7 p.m.
All We Imagine Is Light also, I think, was one of the, I think, we could see something like, maybe Minotaur, maybe I'm not seeing that many films that could be like really long and really difficult to watch, but maybe
this is a huge thing with this year's lineup, Arno,
Yeah.
is that like typically we can identify 1 or 2 films that are like slow cinema, films that are that we know from these directors' past works are going to be long and are going to take their time with every moment and might not be exciting in that way. Like Two Prosecutors and Resurrection are both riveting films in their own way, but they are drawn out. They take their sweet, sweet time, which makes them really hard to watch late at night. And Always Can has films like this programmed very late. But looking at this lineup, there's really nothing to me that's ringing as like, oh, that's going to be a hard one to get through late at night. Even like All of a Sudden, which is over 3 hours long, Hamaguchi is not a filmmaker that I think of in that way. Like I have a feeling that no matter what he makes, it's going to be completely engaging all the way through.
Yeah,
And I guess before we dive into our official Cannes lineup here, let's just spam through some of these comments here, highlighting everyone who's joining us today, and then we'll dive into our official competition lineup. And I mean, this is how I feel about today. We have a really fun episode and I guess this is kind of moving away from Cannes. But I mean, Sam Levinson, he's been to Cannes before. Euphoria season 2. Elizabeth is wrapping up watching that with season 3 premieres tomorrow. I'm super excited for season 3. I might be like one of the few people who are excited. Arno, Matt Dyl, watch Euphoria.
I have never seen Euphoria, and I don't intend to. I have a deep hatred of Sam Levinson. I'm really not a fan. I've never seen The Idol, so I can't speak to that. But I don't like the way that he writes characters. I don't like the way that he writes women. I just have a lot of problems with Sam Levinson's work. So never seen Euphoria, and personally, Maury just said it. I don't even watch good TV. I've never seen The Sopranos. I've never seen The Wire. Why would I watch Euphoria at this point? No knock to people. I think that there's probably a lot of great stuff in Euphoria. I mean, I've heard Zendaya's amazing. It's not for me.
I just don't understand why it's worth watching Euphoria when The Weeknd isn't in it.
That's true. That's true.
But for real, I'll wait until there's more of a consensus as to like whether season 3 is worth it, like closes the series well, and then maybe I'll consider watching, because I hate it when TV shows, maybe they start great and then they just don't know how to end, and it's like, what was the point of this? Like I want to make sure the full package is worth my time, so that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, Euphoria for me, season 1, I think is one of the best seasons of television I've watched before, but I do admit season 2 starts to go down, and at least the earlier reactions for season 3 seems like, to what you're saying, Arno, doesn't really know how to end it and continues to go down and down and down. Continuing down our list here, I mentioned this in our end show, we have first reactions for Michael, and I mean, I've been on the Michael train. If we go back to our awards expert consensus, when the season started, it was in the top 10. It's moved down to 11. It's moved down to number 12, where I think it currently is right now. The review embargo is still about a week away, but more and more public screens are happening over the weekend, early next week. I'm a little upset. I've had 2 opportunities to see Michael in the next week, and I'm not going to be able to see either of them due to my work trip over to Las Vegas. But Matt, I know from our prediction episode, you were on the train of Michael is going to potentially get into like the 30s or 40s of Metacritic. Do these early reactions change your mind at all, or are you still probably not, Michael, a big Oscar player?
I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and see. It's early reactions, man. Like someone said that it's very Wicked for Good coded, and it's possible. It's totally possible that it's Wicked for Good. You're going to expect that the people who are posting these early social reactions are the exact target audience. Now, granted, I did see a lot of these coming from pundits, but also pundits can really hop on trains of just like spamming things with love that are not eventually going to be that beloved. So I'm going to wait and see. I think that probably saying that this is red on Metacritic might be an overstatement, but again, it's still too early to tell. I don't want to jump on a bandwagon either way at this point. So I'll wait and see.
And I guess, Arno, since I haven't really got your thoughts on your early Best Picture predictions, are you team Michael or are you team anti-Michael?
I haven't really chosen a side. I mean, like quality-wise, I'm anti-Michael, but awards-wise, like Matt said, these early reactions to me are meaningless right now. I mean, they're encouraging, I suppose, but to me, I just gotta wait for more reactions to come out, because these studios, they know how to get that positive word of mouth ball rolling early, and then it's once a greater public sees the film where you get a little bit more of an accurate sentiment as to what, like, globally what the target audience is looking for. When you invite all these influencers, they're naturally inclined to want to enjoy the experience, not just because they're handpicked, cherry-picked, and because they'll be inclined to like the film, but also because they're given like this incredible opportunity to see a major Hollywood film, major Hollywood biopic about a major figure early. As much, so like right now, I don't think there's anybody giving anywhere close to an objective point of view, and I'm just gonna wait for more. I don't think I'll see this in theaters. It's not my cup of tea. Awards wise, I'm undecided. It's weird that it's in April. It's a financial play first and foremost, so that's not weird. Like, it's a good place to put it for IMAX screens and whatnot. But awards wise, I don't know. Rocket Man was in May, and that went to the Cannes Film Festival, I suppose. But like, yeah, I don't really see the angle for it's not going to be a Sinners. I don't think people are going to be talking about Michael and want to bring it back to the conversation 8 months later. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Michael can be the next installment for you, Arno, of films that you have to catch up on after Best Picture nominations, with like F1 last year, Wicked the year before that. I'm sure there was one the year before. There's one every year. Maybe it's not Michael this year. Maybe it is. But get into some more Oscar conversation at large. We have this comment here with Nina Gold and Francine Maisler casting for Narnia, 2 people who got nominated last year. Do y'all think, with this comment here, is it a lock for the nomination? Do you think it could possibly win. Matt, I know that you also have Narnia in picture. Currently, I would
I
have
actually
Narnia
just
in
took it out
casting.
last night.
Ooh, let's hear.
Yeah, I'm just thinking more and more about The Magician's Nephew as a source material, and I really feel like it's probably almost unanimously seen as one of the weakest books in the Narnia series. And there's not as much of like a plot to latch on to in this one. It's not as exciting, it's not as big. I think we could get some craft nominations for it and likely will, but it's very hard for me to see this as holding up to being as strong of a film as Gerwig's previous three that all got Best Picture. So to me, I'm backing off a little bit. However, I do think that casting could, if Narnia's in picture, casting would make a lot of sense because there are kids in the movie that are going to be unknowns, and you are casting some roles that feel kind of iconic. But yeah, I'm seeing people saying, yeah, Magician's Nephew is the least favorite. I agree. Weirdly religious. I mean, the whole series of Narnia is very, very religious, but Magician's Nephew specifically is like the book of Genesis in a way. I don't know. I'm just, for a moment, going to step back from Narnia just a little bit because I just don't see how you take this source material and you make it unanimously seen to be at the quality level of Lady Bird or Little Women or Barbie, which all three got such unanimous praise. And I think Narnia will have praise, but it's not going to be as across the board. So I'm cooling off a little bit on that one.
Yeah, I mean, moving on down a little bit here, Arno, these next few, I think, are for you out there. You have your fun menacing puppet right behind you. And also, PA's out here saying Minotaur, 10 p.m.
Oh, okay, so somebody agrees with me. That's looking at the lineup, that's the only, like, again, I don't want to denigrate these films. Like, I remember 2 years ago, All We Imagine Is Light. People were like, "This film is amazing. Why the hell did they program this at 10:30 p.m.
on the second last day?"
On the at the very, it's kind of the resurrection slot actually.
Yeah.
I remember even 4 years ago, I wasn't at the festival, but Pacifiction, which is a nearly 3 hour long slow.
It's 3.5 hours, is it not?
I thought it was a little under 3. Maybe you're right, but it's a very long film that takes its time, and part of the vibe of the film is that you're stuck on this island and just kind of vibing in the nightlife and in the and looking at these characters doing nothing, and that's part of the greatness of the film actually. But at the same time, you program it on the second to last competition day, like program it early on in the festival. Not at the tail end, dear God. I remember
also not on the first day, because 2 prosecutors on the first night was also difficult.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I was able to stay awake through that one, but yeah. I'll take your word.
I was challenged by that
one. I know people were mad about showing up. Showing up. Oh, that's such a slow film. How dare Kelly Reichardt show a shot of her sculpting her sculpture for 2 minutes. I'm so bored. That was at the end of the festival, and clearly the festival learned nothing because they put The Mastermind as the very last film of the festival. Yeah, you're always going to have these. But again, like you said, Matt, we're going to talk about the lineup, but one of the particularities about the lineup, and I think even the director of the festival, Thierry Frémaux, even said something along the lines of, this is going to be an audience-friendly auteur lineup. And other than Minotaur, which we know from Zviagintsev previous film can be a little slow, but even then, it's not an Albert Serra film. It's not a Wang Bing film,
I find his films, especially if you go back to The Return, they can be like pretty electric. Loveless is probably his slowest film.
Oh, interesting.
His most recent, in my opinion. I think Loveless is his slowest.
Loveless is actually the only film of his that I've seen. I need to catch up on his films. So
I'm sorry for a parallel. I've ruined it for you because you really should be watching Leviathan.
I'll also watch that one if I find it. But but yeah, like, so just to conclude the thought, there doesn't seem to be a film that will be quote unquote difficult or a chore to sit through. Even Minotaur might not be that slow. That it'll depend on whether it's closer to Loveless or closer to Leviathan. Everything seems pretty accessible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the ones that will be hardest to sit through are probably our obligatory French films in the lineup.
Which we'll talk about them, but there are a few I would bet money on you can skip that one.
Also, I just want to clarify, there was, I think Bernardino said, I thought that it was just an accident, it was a cool palm. And I just want to clarify what we mean when we say cool palm, because it doesn't mean a good palm winner. It doesn't mean, whether or not we agree with the prize. Cool palm, we just mean is like trendy, right? Because Honora was a very trendy winner. You look back at Anatomy of a Fall, that was a very trendy winner. Triangle of Sadness, trendy. Titan, outside of the box, trendy pick. Even Parasite. We have a string of these, and every single Neon win except Accident has been for a film that's from like a young filmmaker on the up and up, that feels fresh and new, like it's coming from the new cinema, instead of being an older filmmaker who is, I guess a legacy act when it comes to Cannes. And so that's what we mean more when we say cool palm.
Think of it also as like how you're going to pitch the film. Like Triangle of Sadness is the movie where people vomit for 20 minutes on a ship. Whereas it was just an accident
where a serial killer fucks a car.
Exactly. Whereas it was just an accident is an Iranian drama about previous torture victims trying to get revenge on their captor, on their previous captor, made by a filmmaker who's a political dissident. That's not immediately like attention grabbing or like, it's not going to be like a film bro film,
Yeah. And I think last year, films that could have qualified as like the trendy cool winner, I think that could have been, Ayash just said Surat. I think that would have been one that would have been considered like a cool trendy pick, especially because Oliver Lax is like, he's the young, hot director. I think Sentimental Value also would have fallen under that. Secret Agent as well. Clara Mendonça Filho is absolutely someone who would fall under cool and trendy and new. And instead they went in the direction, like you said, a very political palm, something that was much more considered with It Was Just an Accident. So it's just going to be interesting to see this year. And what does Park lean towards? And I kind of think Park Chan-wook is going to lean more towards a trendy palm than he will one of the old masters. But there's not really many old masters in competition. I mean, we've got, I guess you could say, Zvygintsev is an old master. Almodovar is an old master at this point, even though I think that he's still got that kind of cool, trendy feeling to him. But most of these filmmakers are of the new cinema, and I think that's exciting.
And I guess with that, let's just hit one more of these comments before we officially go to our Cannes Line, because I think a lot of these comments here are talking about specific films and competition, but Jammed here talking about Arno's cool point or point of cool winners and some that we've been talking about a little bit here. His pick is Hope, and I mean, we talked about Cauchy a few episodes here ago. Yesterday, pre-Neon buying it, it was at like 5 cents. Now it's almost doubled. So clearly people are getting behind Hope, at least when, there's some money involved. But let's dive into this official competition lineup here. And I guess, Matt, Arno, is there a specific film that you want to start by highlighting here, or just
let's
talking
start
about
with
the festival at large?
Why don't we talk about Hope? I think Hope is a really great place to start, especially because on a surface level, yeah, it would make a ton of sense for Park Chan-wook to pick another genre film from South Korea. That would make so much sense. It makes too much sense, actually, and that's why I can't get on board at this point predicting that to be the Palm. But look, people are complaining that this lineup is too international. There's not enough going on here for the Americans. I think people have really come to expect, people have come to expect American participation at Cannes. They've come to expect stuff like Anora. They've come to expect those types of movies to show up here and be the star of the show. Every year, despite the fact that this is like a tasting platter of the best of international cinema, you still have people being like, well, I can't wait to see the new Wes Anderson. I was guilty of that. But still, the American films hog all of the attention. And at this point, I think it's very interesting to look at Hope, which is a blockbuster. It is a Korean blockbuster. It's a huge alien invasion movie, and still people are like, oh, but there's not enough American movies here. And yeah, it's not an American movie, but it is a blockbuster, and I think it fills the same sort of slot that we look to see every year.
And even it's not an American production at all. It is fully South Korean. Although there are like Anglophone stars within the film, Taylor Russell, Michael Fassbender, Alicia Vikander. We don't know their roles yet. I would probably assume that they have more supporting roles and that the lead roles are the Korean trio, it seems, of actors. But still, like this, the only box it's not checking is the director's name. People don't know Na Hong Jim yet. He's not, so people are not like, oh, I'm gonna see the new Ari Aster. I'm not gonna be seeing the new. But again, like, especially you guys in the awards space, like you have been talking about these international auteurs, oftentimes with partly Anglophone casts, who have films coming up, such as Fjord, All of a Sudden, and Fatherland, and like, yeah, they're not American films. The names of the directors don't roll off the tongue as easily as Wes Anderson, saying Ryusuke Hamaguchi or Paweł Pawlikowski is not necessarily easy, but I don't understand why some people at least are not as, are not considering those, are not batching those up in the same way you would be excited to see a Wes Anderson film at Cannes. I understand that Pawlikowski doesn't have the same cult like following, but still, I'm a little disappointed about that. The one thing I will agree on, though, and this is outside the competition, is that we don't have an American studio film, and it's been tradition for a while that even before the lineup is announced, we have an early announcement of a big Hollywood studio film to get the ball rolling, whether that's Furiosa in 2024, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning last year. These were announced before the lineup, and we didn't have one this year. We didn't, and we don't have one in the lineup announcement either. Now there are rumors that there could be one added later on, but we'll see what that. For now, that is not the case, and so there isn't that film that's going to premiere within the festival that is going to be this big American studio film that people are excited to get a first look at, whether that's Elvis, whether that's Top Gun Maverick. There's not going to be that this year, and it's going to leave a little bit of a hole that box is not checked. But again, like for us cinephiles who go to Cannes and who are open and curious about discovering films, beyond the most obvious things, like there's a lot to eat here. There's a buffet here, and we just have to dig a little bit under the surface. And I like it is every year at Cannes. After the festival is when we realize how good we had it, how great of a lineup we had. Right now, we don't know a lot of these films, and we don't know a lot of these filmmakers too. And Matt, I'll let you talk about that, I guess. But we have 11 out of the 21 films announced here that are first-time directors directors going into the competition for the first time, which is proportionally much higher. This is half the lineup, whereas in previous years we have closer to a third, of like 8 out of 22 last year. I think 8 out of 21 the year before. We have 11 out of 21 directors who are in competition for the first time. So these are a lot of new names that we have to do our research and get to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot. And I will also say I'm going to be releasing at some point over the next few days a video where I'm going to do a deep dive into everything. But I've been very busy, so I haven't been able to get around to it yet. I've been writing that video, and I think a lot of the things we talk about here today, I'll probably be learning things from you, Arno, that will be included in that video. That's going to be a real deep dive into everything. But I did see someone say that their brain broke because we didn't go from the top down. So I think we should go from the top down. So let's talk Minotaur first. I mean, Minotaur is one I'm really excited for. This is a Russian film. Andrei Zvygintsev, he is a dissident filmmaker who continues to make films in Russia, although he really has been struggling to do so. He made a Venice Golden Lion winner, which is one of my favorite films of all time, The Return, which I think is just one of the most incredibly beautiful films that I've seen in a very, very long time. He also made Oscar nominees Leviathan and Loveless. And Minotaur, someone pointed this out on our Best Picture predictions video. Minotaur is not a film that's been cooking for a long time. Zvygintsev was actually working on a film called Jupiter beforehand, but it was a really big film and it took a lot of funding, and the film was actually canceled because he got like terminally ill for multiple years. And so he's back now with this one. It's a smaller project. What it's going to look like, what it's going to be, it's a little bit unsure at this point. Thank you, Moonfall. Zivyagintsev. I'm gonna remember that.
This is good that we're doing this live so that people can help us with the pronunciation early, so we don't say Mendonça Filho for like half of the year.
Exactly. And then it's immortalized forever. So, but yeah, Arno, do you have any more thoughts on Minotaur?
I just know that similar to Two Prosecutors, actually last year, this is a film set in Russia that is not filmed in Russia. I believe it's filmed in one of the Baltic states, Estonia, Lithuania, one of those. I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously shot there because, Loveless, his previous film, was shot in Russia, but I think he's left the country since then, since the Ukraine war really erupted in 2022, and so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because he's not going to be able to document through like exterior wide shots or things like that, like Russian society moving along in a contemporary way. He's going to have to stage it completely. He's not a documentarian, but he's not going to accidentally capture parts of contemporary Russian society, is what I'm trying to say, because he's not going to be in Russia. So is this going to be a lot of interiors? Is this going to be how is he going to pull that off, is what I'm trying to say. Although, again, aesthetically speaking, these countries look very similar to Russia, so it's going to be convincing. But it's interesting that he's now officially part of the Russian auteurs who have to work outside of Russia.
Yeah, which is a growing list. And I do wonder if the Russian nationality of the filmmaker will affect him at all in terms of how this film is talked about, how this film is discussed. I think that's something that we're going to have to consider going forward. I don't think it'll affect it at Cannes, but going beyond Cannes, like I wonder if when we get into the Oscar race, if this is possible for an international feature nomination or anything more, just based on Zvyagintsev being Russian. So I'm curious to see how that goes. But let's talk The Beloved.
Hold on. I'm curious. You've seen a lot of his films.
Yes.
Do you have like a favorite or like an
Return.
entry?
The Return,
Like
absolutely.
which one? Sorry.
The Return.
The
It's
Return.
his Golden Lion winner. It's I think one of the most astounding films I've seen coming from Russia. It's so beautifully shot, and it's exciting the entire time while moving very slowly. It's just like a very carefully crafted film in every way. I also think Leviathan is a really interesting film. I think I watched it a little too young because it gets deep into political corruption, and I feel like I need a rewatch of that film. But those, I think, are his two essential films. And we'll see how Minotaur turns out, because we know it's going to be a smaller project.
And I guess before we keep going down this list, I'm just going to throw a poll for everyone to do here. Let's make it in the bottom right here, get rid of the chat for a little bit, of how many films Canada has consistently been getting at least one, if not two, some years even three of its competition lineup into the Best Picture race. So we'll have this up for a little bit as we talk through, and then maybe once we get to
love
a film
how
that we all...
confusing this is. 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, 2. I think that's hilarious.
Right. That's right. We'll leave it like that. I didn't even realize that when I made it. But yeah,
it's great.
That is pretty funny. We'll leave that here as we talk about The Beloved. But maybe when we get back to Fatherland, we'll keep an eye on this poll. I'll bring it back up then. It's still live for everyone down the chat right now, but we'll look at it again then. And then when we talk about Fatherland, we can see how many films, if we do believe that Fatherland will be one of those films.
Yeah. So Sorogoyen, he's one of the most interesting filmmakers to kind of look at coming out of Spain right now, because less than a decade ago, he was just one of the nominees for Best Live Action Short Film at the Oscars. And he's sort of had like a meteoric trajectory since then. He's like cleaned up the Goya Awards with some of his films. Arno, one of your favorite films of recent years, The Beasts, was made by him, and he just put out one of Spain's like biggest TV shows, The New Year's. So this film, though, is going to really suffer from comparison because it has the exact same plot as Sentimental Value, because Javier Bardem plays a filmmaker who is an absent father who returns to make amends with his two daughters, and one of them is an actor who he casts in the movie. It is the exact same plot as Sentimental Value.
Is it two daughters? I thought it was just one.
Is it? Okay, maybe it's just one.
I might
it's
be
still
wrong.
A daughter who's an actor who he casts in the movie.
Because like the math, it seems like the math formula of this film is Sentimental Value minus Elle Fanning and Inga Ipsdotter Lilius plus Surratt's locations.
Interesting. You know, I'm gonna eat this up, but I'm sure that he saw Sentimental Value and probably pulled a chunk of hair out.
Yeah.
That can't be easy to see a film with your exact premise.
I'm sure, like it's clear that he thought of he wrote this film like without having Sentimental Value in mind, so it's going to be his own. But obviously, it will suffer from that. I'm curious about Sorogoyen. If you guys haven't seen Asbestas, that film is just I don't know how much you like it, Matt, but like I think that film is extraordinary.
I think it's good. It's not one of my faves, but I think it's good.
And it's a thrilling film, and it's got extraordinary performances. It's a film that went a little bit under the radar outside of Europe, and I really, really recommend it. I don't think this is going to be one of his strongest films. I think it will be. I'm excited to see it, but I think this will be. This is kind of I think this is a case of like. This filmmaker is clearly like on the rise right now, and his last film and like you said, TV series was very popular, and Cannes just kind of has to make amends with that. And like, oh, we probably should have put him in competition earlier. Hey, this one's pretty good. We'll put him kind of like a firebrand situation where it's like Karim Maynouz, clearly on the rise. His last film won the Un Certain Regard Prize, was a major film. We should probably put him in competition, but it's firebrand, that's maybe this is a pessimistic prediction, but that's kind of how I see it right now.
Yeah, I feel like he is one of the most accessible filmmakers that we've got here. like his work is very populist. In Spain, especially, it's very, very populist stuff. It's thrilling, it's exciting, and it's easy to get into. I also just want to shout out, we typically don't see a lot of Spanish films at Cannes. Thierry Frémaux, he seems to have like a bit of bias against Spanish cinema at times outside of Almodovar. And I mean, every once in a while we get other Spanish filmmakers, but having 3 Spanish films here is really a good sign for Spain's year in cinema.
Very, very cool to see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That and Japan are the only countries outside of France that have 3 films in the competition.
And I think it's always worth noting when you see something like this, because you know that there's a quota for French films. They have to reach a certain number of French films for the competition. And so typically you'll see some films forced in that really should not be there and are really just there because it's a weak year for French cinema and they need something to fill it out. But when you see other countries that have multiple films in the competition lineup, usually they have like an anti-quota where it's like they can't have too many films representing the same place, the same region, because it is supposed to be a survey of global cinema. And, you know, having 3 Spanish films, they've got to earn those spots. You know, maybe someone like Almodovar kind of can get the spot just because he's Almodovar. But you see something like The Black Ball from Javi's, which we'll talk about later. We'll go in order. But
we can talk about it now if you want.
Yeah, I feel like it makes sense.
Talk about all the Spanish films, I guess.
Like if we go in order, and we have to go through Garance. Like I don't want to talk about. We'll talk. But just to bounce off that point just slightly, we have 21 films announced in competition at the moment. Like kind of 22, because at the announcement, Thierry Frémaux said, "Oh, there's a film that you will be wondering why it's not there. Trust me, it will be there. It's just that we need to finish up the paperwork." It seems he's even talked about it like literally later that day in an interview, like implying it was James Gray's Paper Tiger. And so let's assume for a second that Paper Tiger is the 22nd film. It is unprecedented that in the announcement, they list off 22 titles right off the bat. The tradition with Cannes is that, in part because it is the most desired like festival to go to for filmmakers, they get a lot of late submissions, last minute submissions, right? And so they make last minute additions, and there will be some this year. But usually what that means is that they announce somewhere between 18 to 19 titles on the day of the announcement, and then they complete the selection with 2 to 3 additional competition slots, and then other films and other selections, right? This year, right off the bat, 22 films. That's unprecedented. Like, assuming that we'll get a few other late additions, that is crazy. In recent years, the only year that has had more than 22 films was 2021, which was the kind of COVID catch-up year, where they were explicitly saying we're going to have more films this year because there are some that decided to defer to the following year because of COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of films right off the bat, but within those 22 films, the biggest kind of like general omission right now, or the biggest like thing we can realize, is that it is a very, very European centric list. No African films. The only Asian films present are from Japan and South Korea.
No South American films, right? No
South American films. Only 1 North American film. Well, 2 if you count the James Gray. Which are Iris Sachs and The Man I Love and Paper Tiger. So it's a little, you could say it's a little disappointing in that, oh well, we're just gonna watch a lot of films from the same kind of general area, and if we want to see things from outside of that general area, we have to go to the other sections, which we'll talk about later. So it's a little so while it is nice to see, oh, wow, Spain is going to have a huge presence here with 3 films. It's a little disappointing that that is also at the price of not having much diversity within the lineup. But yeah.
Yeah, and like even the fact that we have like an Iranian filmmaker here, but making a film in France. So like there is definitely a lack of films from so many different regions. We don't have anything from the Middle East, North Africa. We don't have anything from Sub-Saharan Africa. We have very, very little from Asia. I mean, we have nothing from West Asia. We have nothing from South Asia. We have 1 Korean film and 3 Japanese films. There's nothing from China. It's really, I hadn't really clocked this, but you're right. I think that's what's feeling weird about this lineup for me. But yeah, to go back to the Spanish films, I'm really excited about the Black Ball. Because Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo, they're known as Los Javis in Spain. And they've made 1 film before, but they've made like 4 or 5 TV shows, which I live with a bunch of Spanish people, a bunch of people from Barcelona. Specifically, my roommate Pau is a queer filmmaker from Barcelona. So he's very familiar with Javi's work. And all of his, checking his Letterboxd, all of the Javi's TV shows, he's given a 9 out of 10. Like, he loves their work. And to see filmmakers like this, who this is really like their first big film, they've had big shows, but they've never had a big film like this, to immediately put them on the red carpet for the Palais, it's big. That's a really big sign. This is one of the films that I think we need to be taking very seriously immediately, especially because it's the 3rd Spanish film here. It's got to mean something.
Did you know that the Javis are, I think, still judges on the Spanish version of RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yes, they were for 5 seasons.
Okay.
Which I think is probably where my roommate knows them from, because he's huge fan of Drag Race Spain.
But I agree. This is one of the titles I'm most looking at. Like, this is going to be a breakout, in part because the pitch is incredibly ambitious. It's kind of it's I think going to be separated in 3 parts, each in a different era, looking at gay livelihood in Spain throughout 3 different epochs. The film, I think, has been confirmed to be 2 hours and 35 minutes. This is a big undertaking. This is a big, ambitious undertaking. There's also going to be some kind of small cameos from Glenn Close, and notably, according the programmer Thierry Frémaux, singled out Penelope Cruz as having a very strong, like, 2-scene role in the film. So maybe look out for that. This would be my early predicted Spanish submission for the Oscars.
I can see that. Yeah,
it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be camp. Like, it's not just going to be like, oh boy, look how difficult it was living back in the 30s in Spain. Or so. It's going to be fun. This is going to be a standout, I think.
Yeah, I see people saying "Gay Sound of Falling." Yeah, Sound of Falling. Fall was a death drop.
Well, so, I guess with that, moving to our next movie on the list, we have 1949. We have Fatherland, and I actually want to pull up. We made a poll here on the channel yesterday. I want to pull this up here. 50% of people out of 121 votes currently have Fatherland taking the palm. From some of the other comments that we have here, we had some votes for Parkson Takes It Down the Box. We have Coward, Sheep in the Box, The Unknown. But it seems like the majority of people are on the Fatherland train right now. So I guess for Matt, I know this is a film that you think could win Best Picture. But Arno, are you as high as Matt is? Are you around where I am, where I think this is a picture, director, acting, screenplay? This is probably one of the stronger international movies. Or do you think this is something that people are really boosting up a little bit too much at this point?
Okay, so this early on, I'm not going to make any grand declarative statements saying this is going to win Best Picture or anything like that. But basing on the little information that we know, also based off on the announcement, because sometimes you can glean some little things from the announcement, from how enthusiastic Thierry Frémaux is about the films. And we'll talk about The Unknown in a second, because that's going to be an interesting one. But he seemed to be especially enthusiastic about Fatherland. This is a film early on, before he even started announcing the films. He said, he always makes these kind of like general statements about, oh, what is this lineup going to be like? What's the theme amongst all these films? He singled out, he said, this is an especially intelligent lineup, in that there are films who have really, who were thoughtful and had intelligent things to say. I don't know how this lineup will be, let's say, more intelligent than previous years or whatever. Maybe there's a little bit more of an intellectual side to things. But when he talked about Fatherland, he mentioned this is a film that is about looking at history, at a recent war, and kind of like interpreting it, analyzing it, understanding it. And he said it is a film that values intelligence. This is a film about Thomas Mann and his daughter. And I'm assuming these are characters who are going on a road trip, but who are looking around them and interested in understanding what happened around them, the people around them, the destruction around them. And this tells me that this is a film, I'm sure, like his other films, are going to be emotional, but this is one that's going to be for your brain. And this is going to be, okay, I hate the notion that in the Oscars, people say, oh, they're voting for the film that goes for your heart and not your brain. Because I don't know about you guys, I had much more of an emotional reaction in front of Roma than in front of Green Book, personally. Like, that's a film that made me shocked, that made me cry, and Green Book, I laughed a bit, and that's about it. So I don't like that notion, but this screams to me like a film that people are going to say, oh, this is a film for your brain, not for your heart. Take that for whatever you will. That being said, it's going to be huge. I would be shocked if this doesn't win a prize. Palm is possible. It's on the table. I'm going to steer away from Best Director just because he won that last time. But it is a very directory film, so you never know. The two leads could show up in actor or actress, right? Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. I could even see this be like a blue is the warmest color situation, where a palm is split between the director and the two leads.
Sure, but I think that happened because Steven Spielberg was the jury president, and they wanted to please Steven Spielberg. I don't think that's ever happening again. It's just kind of this exceptional thing where Steven Spielberg, you don't say no to Steven Spielberg, Yeah,
fair enough. Well, I think one thing that's really exciting me about this, and which makes me feel like it might still hit the heart, it might still be a crowd pleaser as well, is that it seems to be leaning on Wim Wenders' early work, which is all very fun and very light. But the lead actor who's playing Thomas Mann, one of his earliest roles was in Wim Wenders' The Kings of the Road, which was another road trip movie across Germany. But that one was set in the 70s. It was a contemporary film at the time when it released in 1976. But here is another road movie across Germany using one of the same actors from Kings of the Road. And if Pawlikowski is aiming for that type of a movie in some way, kind of crossing this, examining a war-torn state in the immediate aftermath of the Second World War, if he's going for that, as well as sort of weaving in some of those Wim Wenders influences, this could be a real crowd pleaser as well. But we're yet to see that. I think it's just, I think it's a very exciting prospect what this film could be.
Also, if you do want me to make an awards prediction, like, don't lock this in, but like put it at number one for cinematography. Like,
oh yeah,
it's Pavel. What's his name? Oh my gosh,
Lucas
Lucas Jal. He's been nominated twice. It was for both of his
Fantastic
films. This is another black and white 4:3, beautiful, gonna be beautiful looking film. Like, just put it at number one. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's a placeholder.
I guess going to the comments here, Jam's got a good question. Head to head, who has more sway in a jury, Huppert or Spielberg?
Huppert, because apparently she's a fucking fascist.
Do you want to elaborate on that or keep it out of context?
I'll elaborate. This is what James Gray said of Isabelle Huppert after the 2009 jury deliberations at Cannes. Apparently, she walked in, said, "Hanukkah gets the palm. For the rest, fight amongst yourselves," which is crazy. And it seems that she similarly ruled with an iron fist on her Venice jury, where The Room Next Door won the top prize,
and where James Gray was part of the jury yet
again was part of the jury. But yeah, James Gray famously describing Isabelle Huppert as a fucking fascist is hilarious.
Well, it also is hilarious that Lucas Zhao, as someone like Arno says, has gotten in for both of Pawlikowski's films. But when he does, you could say equally as cool things, like with Zone of Interest cinematography, or last year, how much life I feel like he brought with Hamnet, he misses. So maybe Pawlikowski is his golden ticket to the Oscars.
I don't understand how he missed for the Zone of Interest. I guess it was too cutting edge. That film is just insanely well shot. Hamnet, I'm not going to cry over, but it is funny that so far, for whatever reason, he's only gotten those 2 nominations. It's for the same director, shot in the same format, and the same style. So you can at least, I would say, you can lock in a nom. Come on.
I think locking this early is tough to say, especially for a film that's like pretty sight unseen at this point. But if this is the player that we expect it to be, it's in cinematography. Mm-hmm. To talk about Zone, it's funny that we still are saying it's like such groundbreaking techniques when the way that they shot it and the way that they hid the cameras is the exact same technique that they use on Dyl. You're gonna like this, Love Island.
Yeah, and that's how you know it's groundbreaking. Is Zone of Interest cinematography is pulling from Love Island. That's the influence of reality TV right there.
Yeah, no, the way that they hid the cameras and made it a 360-degree set, it's directly the exact same technology that's used on Love Island, on Big Brother, on a lot of reality TV, and so, but it's still. To use that in a film like The Zone of Interest was groundbreaking and should have gotten a nomination for sure. But yeah, I agree with Moonfall out there and with Arno. I'm not losing sleep over Hamnet missing cinematography. That film could have looked so beautiful, and I thought it was just mush, unfortunately. But I have
what it kind of reminds me of is that the sound design of Roma was extraordinary. Like, it's, I think to this day, still my favorite like sound designed film maybe ever. Yeah. And we were so excited to see, oh my gosh, Chloe Zhao is taking the sound designers of Roma and taking it to Nomadland. And then we were like, yeah, the sound is good. Sound is good in Nomadland. And then here's the same kind of thing where, oh, she's taking Lucas Zhao. It's going to be beautiful. It's like, yeah, it's nice. Like it's not his best work, but it's nice, Yeah.
Well, Arno, did I tell you that Skip Levsey, who did the sound for Roma, came and talked at my school, and I got to directly speak to him and call him the GOAT?
That's awesome. I don't remember you mentioning that, but that's sick.
It was very cool. It was like a conversation with like 10 of us in the room. And I got to speak with Skip Levsey, which was so cool because I got to give him credit. I was like, just so you know, like 3 of your films completely reshaped the way that I see sound in cinema. No Country for Old Men, Gravity, and Roma. Like those 3 films, all of them have completely swayed the way that I see sound. But yeah, no. To say, I will never slander Chloe Zhao, but I will slander Hamnet. I hate Hamnet, but I love Chloe Zhao. I'm currently going to the school that she graduated from, so big fan of Chloe Zhao, not a fan of Hamnet.
That's the beauty of Zhao's movies, though, is I feel like you can look to her three biggest ones as of late: Nomadland, Eternals, Hamnet. They're all polarizing films somehow. When you look at the subjects, you wouldn't really feel like they would be polarizing, but MCU movie, some people say it's one of Marvel's best. Most probably say it's not. Then you go to something like Nomadland, which clearly had its lovers, had its detractors. It basically swept award season that year. But looking back on it now, if you do your Best Picture winner rankings of the 2020s, it tends to be most people's number 6, maybe number 5. And then now we have Hamnet here, which won so many festival prizes, but also has very, very strong detractors to it as well. So I'm very interested to see what Zhao does next. And does this continue?
Something I like to say, I'm not going to go on say more than that, but something I like to say is that, yes, Hamnet won every single festival prize at festivals where One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme, and Sinners were not present.
Hey, I can say it beat Sinners at a fest. At Virginia, somehow Sinners lost. That Sentimental Value was there, Secret Agent was there, Accident was there. All these films that went to so many festivals. Hamnet killed it on the fest circuit, but like you said, for the most part, One Battle was never actually in the conversation. Sinners was at 2, I guess, because it was also at Atlanta.
Yeah, I will also just say I don't think Zhao's work is polarizing in any way. I think it's just that it has passionate detractors. Like Nomadland, I think, is almost universally loved with some detractors. Hamnet is the exact same. Unfortunately, I just happen to be one of the detractors on Hamnet. So I don't know. It's one that I think almost everyone loves, and I'm just sad that I'm not in that camp.
I'm Arno Moonfall has a question for you. Do you like Hamnet?
I'm mixed on it. I think I was slightly positive when I came out of it, and then the more I discuss and think about it, the less I like it. Yeah.
Dyl loves Hamnet.
That's fair. I do. To Bernardino down here, I'm with you on Hamnet. That was one of the most interesting, I will say, cinematic experiences last year. That and Henry Job, I've never felt like I've been in a room full of so many sad people at one moment. But I guess getting back to our timeline here, we're about 4 movies through right now. Matt, you're going to do a full in-depth video here. So I guess let's just rattle some of these off, some quick thoughts. So people know your videos coming out in the next week so they can go fully in-depth with those ones.
Yeah. I mean, Arno, what do you want to talk about? What's exciting for you?
Let's talk about the French cohort, because that's always an interesting one. Supposedly, the festival has, like you said, a bit of a mandate to include a certain quantity of French cinema. I think that their mandate is to have at least 4 French directors. So these aren't necessarily French films; they have to be French directors. So like, Hamaguchi
and Farhadi don't count. For this
exactly. So even though those films are shot in France, set in France, they don't count. They have to be French directors. I think.
Yeah, Emilia Perez would have counted, despite being.
Yes, The Substance would have counted, despite being a UK US production, shot in France, but whatever. That would have counted because Coralie Farja is French. This year, so the minimum. The minimum from what I heard was 4 films, but here we have 5. We have, and it's always interesting to try to analyze this, because inevitably, like you see in Berlin, like you see in Venice, because there is a bit of a quota, there are going to be a few of these films at least where they are in either because they touched the sensibility of the French programmers, who are more prone to liking it because they're in a kind of a local flavor, or they're just not really worthy. And Cannes, for the most part, I'd like to think is an exception, because it is the #1 festival destination. You do have very qualitative French films. You look at like the Director Prize, for example, and the nationality that has won the most Director Prizes at Cannes is French. So I would like to think that part of that is merited. But here we have 5 films from French directors. We have Histoire de la Nuit, which is The Birthday Party in English, by Léa Missius, a first time in competition. Side note, there are 5 women accepted in competition. All 5 of these women are in competition for the first time. Make of that what you will. So no returning women directors in competition. So The Birthday Party by Léa Missius. We have A Man of Our Time, or Notre Salut by Emmanuel Mar. We have The Unknown by Arthur Harari and co-written by Justine Triet from Anatomy of a Fall. We have A Woman's Life by Charline Bourgeois-Taquet. And we have, what's the last one? Another Garance by, why am I not finding it here? It's
Is it cut off at the bottom there?
Hold on, I'm just is it not listed here?
I just took this from Hollywood Reporter yesterday, so maybe they didn't list it on their tweet, but this was the whole tweet.
Anyway, it's from Jeanne Herry, and that one stars Adele Exarchopoulos. Before I make my stance, I'm curious what you guys think. Do you guys have, first of all, are any of these titles or filmmakers ringing the bell? And which ones would you bet are the bad ones? Which one would you bet are the good ones?
Okay, I'll
maybe Dyl, you want to start on this one?
I have nothing really to add.
Okay,
all my information for most of these movies are coming from you two, as well as people in our Discord down below. So I feel like most of what I can say will be stuff that y'all will say as well. What I will say is, I mean, we've heard some things about the Harari film. The concept sounds super interesting and intriguing to me. It's one that I am very much personally looking forward to, but we have heard that maybe it's not the best.
Yeah, I'm curious if you know anything more about that, Arno, because I had been told that I totally thought that The Unknown was going to go out of competition because I'd heard that it was not up to par. But I will say, just from my standpoint, Léa Missius, her film is the one I'm most excited for. She made The Five Devils back in 2022, which I programmed at the film festival that I work for. I think that's a spectacular film. It's strange, it's witchy, it's absurd. It's a lot of fun. Missieu is also an Oscar nominee because she wrote, Emilia Perez was one of the 4 writers on that film. But I think that she's probably the one that I have the most faith in being really good here. I am personally really not looking forward to Another Day, not looking forward to the Bourgeois-Taquet film, A Woman's Life. And I'm not looking forward to Notre Salut. Not looking forward to any of those 3 films. So yeah, it's going to be a rough time. I'm thinking back to last year with Case 137, which I was fucking miserable watching that film. And I'm wondering which of these 3 films is going to be that for me this year, because it'll be one of them.
I will say, last year, you were really not excited for The Little Sister.
Yes, and I really liked The Little Sister.
Not only that, but it won a prize at Cannes
Yes.
and actually made the rounds at festivals pretty well. So here's my take. I think that the quote unquote, maybe they're not going to be bad, but the ones who are not going to stand out are A Woman's Life and Garance. These I've seen Charline Bourgeois-Taquet's previous film Anaïs in Love, and I was, it's fine. It's a solid charmer, but it's not like crazy. I'm reading the synopsis here, and it's about a woman who's been a writer who is starting to rethink her work-life balance. Like, that doesn't inspire me. Sorry?
Surgeon at a hospital, and she starts to rethink her work-life balance when a writer comes to exam.
Yes, sorry. Missing up my terms here. But yeah, that doesn't inspire me like, wow, this is going to be a standout. It's going to be solid.
One thing I will say, Arno, on that one, same editor as All We Imagine Is Light.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe that one will be all right, but I don't think it'll be exceptional. Garance is the one I'm the least looking forward to. This is also because I'm not a huge fan of the filmmaker. Her films have very high scores on Letterboxd. All Your Faces is at like a 4.1, and that's partly because she does like these crowd pleasers, these acting films where you have like massive ensembles of French actors kind of like delivering monologues and talking about serious subject matters and whatnot. It's not my cup of tea, and I don't think it's going to be for the Cannes audience that much. The international Cannes audience, like the French people, are going to like it probably. But it's about an actress kind of like dealing with a drug addiction. Like, okay, like whatever. The Unknown. This is looking like it's going to be this year's Alpha, for better or for worse.
Oh,
This is listen, I have faith. I think Harari is a fascinating filmmaker. I think his previous films fantastic. Onoda, 10,000 Nights in the Jungle, fantastic film. And but this one we've been hearing rumors. What we do know for sure is that it was until like the bitter end that it managed to get into the competition. Like French journalists' phones were like heating up by like all the messages they were receiving like the night before about like, oh, it's not in, oh, it's in, oh, it's not in, oh, it's in, reportedly. So it got in by a sliver, and Thierry Frémaux explicitly said this is one we discuss in a very diplomatic fashion. This is one we discussed a lot within ourselves, and we're excited for you to try to understand what this very singular proposition is. And then he went on to say, "Oh, we remember when films like La Dolce Vita won the Palme d'Or, yet it was booed at during the screening." And he's preparing us for a film that is going to be very divisive, maybe a bit mid. And it breaks my heart a little bit because I thought this was maybe going to be his breakout because I loved his previous film. But this is going to be a film, there are going to be ardent fans of this film, but more than likely it's going to be, a lot. I think this is going to be in the orange on Metacritic. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be, not everybody's going to love it. I agree with you. The Misuse is going to be a standout, or at least it's going to take a risk. It's got some genre elements. It's going to be a fun film. It's going to be a bit thrilling, and there's a really great cast. Avzia Herzi, isn't it? Bastien Bouillon and Benoît Magimel. Which I'm sorry if you don't know who these names are. Just trust me, they're good actors. And the one you have to seriously consider, Matt, I'm serious. This is my early prediction: Notre Salut, or A Man of His Time. This is going to be a big one. This is going to be,
because I remember back in 2023, I said Anatomy of a Fall I thought was going to be the French film that no one cared about. So what is it about Notre Salut that is speaking to you right now?
Okay, so another film we have in the lineup is Moulin by Laszlo Nemes. Laszlo Nemes or Nemes? I don't know.
I don't know. Moonfall, help us here.
Yeah, if we have a Hungarian person out here, tell us. Laszlo, I'll call him Nemes for now. And so he's coming back with a biopic of Jean Moulin. Having gone through the French school system, I can tell you Jean Moulin is somebody you'd study along with Winston Churchill and Charles de Gaulle. Like, he is a major figure in French history. And he's getting his own biopic, and it's from Laszlo Nemes, back in Cannes since Son of Saul. But I think he's also back because it's a French film about Jean Moulin. It's one of those like darkest hour pitches where it's like all you need is Gary Oldman is Winston Churchill. You know what I mean? And here you have Gilles Lelouch is Jean Moulin. Like, it's big. It's like,
Bob
oh my
Schneider
gosh,
is a carrot.
Like the biggest male French star of his age range, playing the most like beloved martyr of France of World War II. It is a major deal. I think it's going to be a very standard kind of like a bit puffy biopic, and I think the version of this story that's actually going to be cinematically interesting is Notre Salut, because this film takes place at the start of the Vichy regime in 1940. So at the moment where the German Blitzkrieg already started to invade France and took over Paris, and all that was left of France as like the government of France was the south of France and the Vichy regime. And this is about an average man, a bureaucrat, which I think is inspired by the director's grandfather, kind of trying to make ways of how do I live my life? How do I live with this new regime? How do we make this new regime work? Or how do we, how do we live with this? I don't think he's a revolutionary in the film. I don't think he's a resistance fighter. But it's basically going to be about how do we live in this era during this time without it being this stuffy biopic about a major person that already has baggage. This is this is also a film that, from what we've from what we've seen, is going to be beautifully shot. This is from a filmmaker I think is very intelligent, very interesting about how he tackles socio-economic situations, as we've seen in his previous film, Zero Fucks Given, where he looks at the life of budget airline flight attendees in a very, very cinematically interesting way and a blunt way. And this is a film that has been confirmed to be 2 hours and 30 minutes. If a filmmaker whose last film, and whose I think his first film was in the Critics Week, and he's immediately going to competition with this major historical piece, original historical piece, not based on even like a famous person, right? With a 2 hour and 30 minutes film, it's that it's going to be big. That's my prediction.
Okay. You've sold me, but I think the thing I'm saddest about is hearing that the Nemes film is likely not going to be great, because I was really hopeful after years of wanting Laszlo Nemes to be back in competition, hearing that it's really just in because Rob Schneider is a carrot.
Here's what I think. I think a lot of people are going to say, oh, Gilles Lelouch Actor Prize, because Gilles Lelouch is Jean Moulin. Actor Prize. Guys, Swan Arlo, he's going to win the Actor Prize instead. That's my early prediction.
That would be cool. That would be really cool.
I guess with that, I think that might be a good segue to go over to Awards Expert, just to look at some of these current predictions that people have on there. And then I guess we can give like early things like Arno just said for maybe actor or other things, because Awards Expert right now is overwhelmingly every category is either Fatherland or For Sure. And that's not very interesting.
Yeah. Fjord is, I mean, we haven't talked about Fjord yet, but like, I feel like it's just one that we're like, yeah, it's going to be great. We've heard it's great. There's nothing more to say about it. It's going to be great. But I don't think it's going to be the type of film that people love in the way that I would expect or want to see for a Palme winner.
Yeah, I agree, actually. I think it's going to be, by the end of the festival, it's not going to be Neon's, like, I don't think it's going to be Neon's top two. I'll put it that way.
So I guess, is there a specific category y'all would like to start off? We could go with actress, we could go down with actor, screenplay, director, or just the Palme at large.
Let's talk Palme, because the problem with Awards Expert for the Cannes Awards in specific is that there are rules in the Palmarès which say that you can only win one prize unless it's actor plus screenplay, which of course was broken last year because it went actor plus director. But technically you can only win, and you can win jury as well as another prize. But technically you can't win director and also win the Palme. But what we're going to see here is like, yeah, Fatherland is going to be number one for the Palme, and it's also likely going to be number one in Best Director. And it's also likely going to be number one in other categories. Yeah. It's currently number one in director and actress. Fjord currently is getting the Grand Prix and actor and screenplay. That's not possible. That's not how Cannes works.
Although I suspect that in the coming days, as people learn more about the competition titles, it might balance out a little bit, but we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, still, it's going to be unbalanced in terms of like this is not what a Palmarès could ever look like. You could never have two films nominate. It just doesn't happen.
I guess let's start with the Palme. If we were here to say right now, we're going to try to put one film that we feel good could place in the top 3, what's one film the 3 of us could all agree on?
Ooh, well, click on that add predictions button, Dill. Let's weigh the odds of all of these. I mean, I think Fatherland is very valid to be in the first spot, but I think it's too obvious of a choice. I think that I don't know, it would be my choice, but it's one that feels like a very vulnerable front runner because it doesn't feel like a very Park Chan-wook choice. I don't know how you guys
know what does feel like a Park Chan-wook choice? You know what I'm gonna say.
Hope?
No.
All of a sudden?
No. All of a sudden.
Yeah.
All of a sudden is the kind of like
Let's-
slightly intellectual, still very cinematic, very audacious proposition. It's been confirmed 3 hours and 16 minutes. Inject that in my veins, please. I'm so excited for All of a Sudden, and I feel like right now the stars are aligning for it to be a Palme d'Or winner. I think that you have 2 co-leads who are really going to push themselves to their acting limits. I think Hamaguchi is it just knows how to get his package together. This is going to be a little bit more on the drive my car accessible side rather than the evil does not exist experimental side. This, could it just win screenplay again? I suppose so, but like, I just think this is gonna be on Park Chan-wook's wavelength. We know. I think I saw somebody tweet that he knows that Park Chan-wook very deeply respects Hamaguchi. So take that is not a very solid concrete proof of anything, but just take that for whatever you want.
I mean, balancing off of that, if he respects Hamaguchi so much, and Hamaguchi is someone who has been around the block at Cannes before, do we think that would result in a Palme, or do you think that would result more into either a screenplay or a director prize for Hamaguchi, where a Palme could go in a more, I guess you could say, adventurous direction of something like Hope or another film that's in the competition title?
Black Ball could also be another one. Yeah, I would actually say I don't know if I see All of a Sudden in particular as being a very Park type of film, because this is a film that sounds a little bit more sentimental than some of Hamaguchi's other work. It's a film about a care center and a connection between a terminally ill patient and the care manager, like the manager of the home, who, after conversations, the entire way that the home is run changes to be more humanitarian. And it sounds a little bit like a message film in a way that I think with a lesser filmmaker than Hamaguchi could end up being like a TIFF special presentations movie. I don't think that Hamaguchi will do that, but you take this premise at face value and it's a little saccharine. And I have full faith that it's going to be very well done. But yeah, to me,
what do you have as the Palme?
I still have Fatherland, but I think I'm inclined to go, if it's not Fatherland, which I would honestly say Fatherland Grand Prix, I might lean with what Moonfall's saying, and I might go Black Ball. I might go Hope as one of those big winners. I mean, sometimes the most obvious winner is the correct one. Like Triangle of Sadness seemed so obvious going into 2022 that we just we're like, there's no way it could actually just be that film.
Panahi kind of, because of the...
That's what I was saying last year, is Panahi just seems so goddamn obvious because we know that Juliette Binoche is a friend, a personal friend of his, and is on record saying multiple times that she thinks he's one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. The easy choice to make here is Hope.
So I guess if we have Fatherland here, we have Hope, we have All of a Sudden, we have the Black Ball. Is there any other film that you would want to add to this list? Let's
scroll up. Can we look at the list and just let's throw out anything we think could be a Palme contender? Because I would say Coward could be a contender.
Minotaur.
I would say Minotaur could be a contender. Yeah.
Maybe Notre Salut, but that's it.
Yeah. I might also say Parallel Tales if it really is an adaptation of Kieslowski's.
No.
Really? You don't think that
It's a loose adaptation. You look at the actors and the stills that have been like a short story about love has essentially two characters, and here we have like Isabelle Huppert, Virginie Efira, Pierre Ninet, Vincent Cass. It's not going to match up exactly. I think he's kind of taking the very loose structure and doing his own thing. I think Farhadi is out of fashion. I'm just going to be real.
Yeah. No, I agree.
PA here too says first day of comp.
Yeah.
After the plagiarism thing, I don't see how Farhadi comes back as like the major auteur to watch.
Yeah, I think it'll be a solid film, but I think he's fallen out of fashion a little bit. That's my day. I'm just gonna say, like, Blackball to me screams jury prize.
Yeah, it could absolutely be a jury prize.
It's gonna be too radical to be a palm, but it's gonna be too undeniable to not give anything. It's gonna be a jury prize.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this out then: Hope Palm, Fatherland Grand Prix, Blackball, jury prize. All of a sudden, director.
I reject Hope Palm. I'm just going to say it. I think it can win the Grand Prix. I think it can win jury. I think it can win director. Hope is not winning the Palm. I'm telling you right away. It's an entertainment film, first and foremost. There is no, like, Parasite has some social elements to it. It feels like, okay, this is the full package. We can give that a Palm. Hope is about aliens or something. It's about, I mean, maybe there's a political thing about it where it takes place on the DMZ, on the border between North and South Korea, and maybe there's something there. It's also very rare to see a jury president of the same nationality as the Palme d'Or winner. The last time I think that's happened is Guillermo del Toro giving the Golden Lion to Roma, and that's his friend. Like, it's not just the same; it was his friend. You know, I don't know that Park Chan Wook and Na Hon Jin like know each other that well. You know.
I guess on that note, I guess my question goes to is how often could that really happen? Like if we go in the past with jury presence, how often would there be a film that maybe has the buzz to be in the wing competition from their same country? Because Roma, I think, with it being an exception, yes, he is his friend, but Roma was also one of the best regarded films of that year. And like PA here, Gerwig did give it to the American with Honora.
Yeah. All right. Okay, maybe I'm looking a little bit too much into it.
Again, I would say Juliette Binoche giving it to Jafar Panahi is another one that's like, we know that there's an established relationship between them. They've worked in a similar realm for quite some time. Like sometimes you do just see people giving it to people that they know and want to give a little bit of extra attention. So,
but to me, Hope is like the substance winning the Palm. You know.
Yeah, which
I would agree that I think Hope might be a stretch for the Palm, but I could see it like y'all are saying with Grand Prix here, or maybe in a very substance way over in screenplay.
But hear me out on this. We've seen in the past juries look over the most fun film in competition, but to go for something more important. And you know who's been affected by that very dynamic? Park Chan-wook, who lost for Oldboy and was passed over for a more political film, a more important film with Michael Moore's Fahrenheit. So what if there's ever a filmmaker who would be willing to go for something genre, who would be willing to go for something outside the box, more of a Titan style winner, it would be Park Chan-wook, because he has lost based on that very credential in the past.
There's just one problem with that theory. You know how he lost? Quentin Tarantino, who wanted Oldboy to win the Palme, was the jury president, and it was his jury who got Oldboy the Grand Prix. Oh, look, Park Chan-wook can change that the destiny of Hope, but his jury around him is going to do the same thing. Maybe. I don't know. But,
no, it's totally possible.
So I guess as a group here, let's move from the Palm. Let's look more towards Grand Prix or jury. Is there a film that we can all agree on to put into one of those spots to kind of help us make room for the Palm? Or should we work in reverse and go with actor and screenplay first?
The easiest thing to do for Grand Prix is to look at something that is like universally acclaimed, but might not have the same like jury adoration. I mean, we had Sentimental Value do this, and the ones that feel like the most like Sentimental Value would be Fatherland and Fjord for me. Like I would say, I think that All of a Sudden might make sense for the Palm. Black Ball and Hope both have that sort of weirdo vibe of the jury prize. Yeah, I feel like the ones that make sense for Grand Prix for me, Fatherland, Fjord, and I would say All of a Sudden also would make sense for the Grand Prix.
I think, I hate to be, I think the safe one is Fatherland for the Palm. But if we can't agree on, because I think Hope is likely for a prize, but I actively reject it winning the Palm right now. I just do not see the angle for the top prize, as good as it may be. But like Fatherland, again, the people seem to say it's major. The one film I saw you just adding Fjord. Fjord is not winning a top 3 prize. I think it might not.
I would agree with that.
I think again, we've been hyping up Fjord because it's one of the first neon films that we had an inkling would be in the Cannes competition, and there it is. But now that we see the entire lineup, I'm like, I don't know where to fit this in, to be honest. Maybe he's already won screenplay, but I guess he could win it again. We didn't talk about Coward yet. Where do we think Coward is going to show up? It's going to show up, right? Like we got to put in the prize list.
Probably. I mean, it sounds like one that could be absolutely huge. But I don't
right
know.
Here, Coward winning the Palm.
I can't go for Palm for Coward. I also can't go for director for Coward. I just want to know more about Coward at this point. It's a World War I film about the front lines and sort of the bonding between soldiers on the front lines, and specifically one soldier who has been dubbed a coward, and sort of examining what cowardice means. I don't know. I don't think it's going to hit people in the same way that Close did.
Apparently shot beautifully. And I'm not just saying that based on my opinion of the still we have. Like, apparently it was shot in a kind of a retro style, whatever that means. Not in like black and white, like things were shot in 1914 or whatever, but in a style that would be a bit more gritty, a bit more grainy, a bit more evocative of period, like of I don't know, maybe fitting of like the front lines or something like that. So maybe the kind of general aesthetic choices of the film could give it an argument for director.
Yeah.
But otherwise, again, like if we think that jury prize is like the kind of daring film that is hard to slot anywhere else, Black Ball is like almost a lock, and then
Black Ball, and I think Hope would work there too, because like it's usually something adventurous and daring and unique.
So then, do we do Fatherland for the Palm, All of a Sudden for the Grand Prix, and then Hope and Black Ball as a jury tie?
Yeah, there's always a tie in jury, basically.
For me, I'm kind of more leaning to a comment that Jam just said here as well. I think that All of a Sudden could work over an actress. We can reward both of them very Amelia Perez style, but maybe that's too recent to happen already again. And that would allow room for something else. Maybe it's Coward. Maybe it's Minotaur to pop up here inside the top 3. Or if we want to go for more adventurous Palm, then Fatherland can move down to that grand jury or Grand Prix prize.
Minotaur apparently really, really good. We've heard from people who've seen it that it's excellent. So we have to consider that seriously. Oh my God, so much. What do we do?
Someone mentioned the Dreamed Adventure,
yes,
which is a German film.
Oh my God, that is such jury core too.
Yeah,
but also, like, this is the one that we just know so little about. We haven't seen this filmmaker's previous films. Wait, no, maybe I'm wrong. Is the Dreamed Adventure the one from Mary Kreutzer? Is this
no? This is Western.
Yeah, this is Western. So we just don't know this filmmaker. All we know about this one is that Maren Ada, the director of Tony Erdmann, is one of the producers on this film.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the standouts. I'm willing to bet. It's also going to be perhaps the most like artsy, quote unquote, film in the lineup.
Yeah.
Then I say let's leave Fatherland, all of a sudden, and Hope. But as we go through some of these others, if we feel stronger for one of those movies, then we can swap them around. Or maybe it's a very Secret Agent style, or maybe something can win too. But I don't think we should do that for the sake of funness.
I would also, I'm just going to put it out there. The Dreamed Adventure, I think, is a prize contender. In the same way that in previous years, we've seen a slightly more artistic film win a prize, like Grand Tour won director. What was it last year? There was, Memoria 5 years ago won the jury prize, something like that.
Sound of Falling in Surat.
Yes. I'm going to say, if we can't fit the Dream Adventure in our top 4 here, the actress, it seems like she's going to have a juicy role.
Well, I feel like let's just go to actress then.
Okay. Let's put her.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
She's going to be hard to find on there. I don't know. She might not have a picture. You're going to have to scroll. Yeah, there she is. The one person without a picture.
Yeah, Yana Radeva.
Boom, top spot.
That's my.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's just add some other names here in case we don't put them in the top 3. Obviously, there's Sandra Hüller. There's both of the women from All of a Sudden, if we have a sort of tie thing. I mean, looking down here, is there anyone else immediately that you would want to throw into this list?
Not going to be Renata Reinsve. Let's get that out there. Well, because she won
Jennifer Lawrence Part 2.
The only... I mean, there's an argument for Adele Exarchopoulos and Leah Drucker as like they are clearly the leads of like kind of showy actor roles in leads of French films. My argument is that I think the films are just not going to be memorable or qualitative enough. Oftentimes in juries, what you realize is that the films that wind up winning prizes are usually like the favorite films of the jury members, not necessarily the favorite performances or the favorite screenplays or whatever. And so it's
About Dry Grasses winning.
Exactly. So it's like it's the favorite. It's whatever they can slot there. And so I don't think Adele Exarchopoulos or Leah Drucker will make it in purely because I don't think the films will be top 7 or 8. Which is unfortunate because Leah Drucker definitely deserved the prize in 2023 for last summer, and she just cannot get in there. But I guess worth considering. Anything else? Maybe
Barbara Lenian as well for Bitter Christmas. Almodovar's films are such actor bait.
Yeah, this one I don't think so, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm waiting on bated breath for my former roommate who moved back to Barcelona. She's going to be seeing Bitter Christmas very soon, and we'll be reporting. And she's going to be on the ground with us in Cannes, so we'll have some Spanish friends to record with.
Sick. But I agree with you, Dylan. A double acting prize for All of a Sudden would be very inspired. I would want the film to win more probably, but that would be a very cool. Like it has been done for a Moonju film in the past, actually, Beyond the Hills, where it was like a duo of actresses, and they both won. So it's
and of course Emilia Perez giving it to all 4 women.
Yeah.
Well, if we put All of a Sudden winning here, that would open up a spot in our top 3 for one of those films that we just mentioned before.
Feels too easy. Let's go Dreamed Adventure.
Sounds good. We'll put All of a Sudden women next, and then we'll have everyone else on the line down there.
Okay.
Cool. So we have Dreamed Adventure taking a prize. Let's go over to actor now on the flip side here.
Swan Arlo. I'm telling you.
Let's find where he's at. Boom.
It's too low right now. Too low. Y'all got to get on that train. It's going to be...
I love that Spanish name, Guitarra de la Fuente. That's great. That's
oh my gosh, yes.
He's also in Bitter Christmas.
Oh, nice. Also,
if we're expecting Fatherland to be big, I guess adding Hans to the list could work if it's not a top prize.
Javier Bardem, Sebastian Stan, I think are worth adding.
Do not sleep on Rami Malek. I'm telling you. Rami Malek
and The Man I Love? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, The Man I Love, we haven't talked about it yet, but it's a musical about the AIDS crisis.
Yeah.
It could be a big disaster, or it could be really interesting.
I think it's his Bohemian Rhapsody redemption.
Yeah,
like he's doing A Man with AIDS again, with music, and He's
Is
just
he actually
like
going to sing this time?
that's this time he gets the European award and saying like in anticipation, guys, I really practiced singing this time.
Yeah, I really actually sang this one.
What do you mean? He just did Nuremberg. He had to do magic in that movie. So now he can sing. He can be a man of everything.
Right, yeah, Rami Malek doesn't need redemption. He needs...
Speaking of, here we go, Rami Malek in Nuremberg.
I did. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. No,
Russell Crowe, really good. Rami Malek.
If there's no Rami Malek haters left, then I am dead.
Say what you will about Nuremberg, but you can't deny it's an awards contender.
Facts. BAFTA long list. That's what everyone shoots for. Russell Crowe, the true magician, abracadabra. Moonfall gets it. So I guess just adding a few people here. We only have 5, but where do you want to lean here?
If you want to be safe, add in Gilles Lelouch at the bottom. Like, he has a Beatty role, technically. I just don't think it's going to be can-coded. That's all.
Yeah, I also just saw someone else on here. Sheep in the Box. I wouldn't put the actor in, but we have to remember Koreeda, almost every time he comes to Cannes, he gets an award.
Recently, yes. I don't know. Sheep in the Box doesn't...
Of, like, the Dardennes, where it's like, even when you think he's not going to get it, he gets something. He didn't for Broker, but even Monster.
No, he did. Broker, it won actor.
Oh, it won. Oh, so
Song
yeah, he
Kang-ho.
always wins something.
No, before his Palm, he was snubbed quite a bit. It's ever since his Palm that he's been getting a lot. I just don't, man. Here's the thing: is that like when Christian Mungiu came to Cannes in 2022 with RMN, his record was not only intact, it was incredible. Not only had he won the Palme d'Or, but for Beyond the Hills, he won 3 prizes, 2 acting and a screenplay prize. Like, crazy. For Graduation, he won direct. Like, he was like unbeatable. And then what did RMN get? Nothing. I just like, to me, Sheep in the Box. It's gonna be a high profile film that just there's just other better choices, I think.
Well, maybe as Moonfall, or you go ahead, Matt.
Also, Koreeda sort of is the antithesis of Park Chan-wook, so I'll be curious to see how Park responds.
Well, Moonfall is here asking, should we add a Minotaur actor to the list? Are y'all more on that train, or should we leave it off? And
I would say
a picture of the director.
Acting is like the least likely thing for Minotaur, in my opinion. Screenplay, director, I don't think actor would be the one to come along.
Actually, Minotaur, if we want to go to director, like that could be a good.
That would be a great director pick.
Yeah.
So I guess here, do we want to go with Swan, or are we going to go somewhere else?
Oh, we're going
Sebastian
Swan.
Stan, Javier Bardem.
Oh yeah.
Let's go Swan.
All right, who should we put at number 2? That way we have at least a runner-up.
Rami.
We got one for Rami. Matt, where are you leaning?
Yeah, Rami. Maybe Sebastian Stan.
All right, we'll put Rami, Stan, Hans, Bardem, and that can be our soft list right now pre-camp. But yeah, let's go to director next. That way we can get some people in here. Obviously, we're going to have Pawlikowski. We just mentioned that we're going to put Minotaur in here. Who else should we add in?
Na Hong Jin.
Yeah, Na Hong Jin would make sense. Hamaguchi would make sense.
Hamaguchi.
Daunt
blank on my list.
Lucas Daunt. Maybe not toward, like, Coward is likely to win something. I just don't know what,
Yeah. Maybe Coward could be an actor prize as well. We didn't put that on, but
fuck, you're right.
Coward would make sense.
We can go back and add it in. But anyone else here that we're considering outside of the main ones?
I would say
Valeska Griesbach.
Ira Sachs, I would say, and Emmanuel Mar.
Mar, I'm not sure, but sure, if you want.
We'll add
I would say
Valeska
Griesbach, maybe towards the bottom of the list, but
cool.
Like, we've seen directors like Hu Xiaoxian for The Assassin win in 2015. Like, it's kind of in that vein, Grand Tour, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess working our way up the list, we have the few people that I'll just mention towards the bottom. We'll have Koreeda down there just because, like Matt says, sometimes when he comes around, more often than not, could be in competition for a win. We have Ira Sachs. Lucas Don't. We currently have at number 5. But for this top 4, how do we want to feel? Because these are all films that we were considering for our top 3 in picture.
I would go Minotaur.
Same.
All right, the simple enough right there. I'll put Fatherhood at number 2 because if it's not winning the Palm, I feel like director could be a spot where they could give it a special prize, a special shout. Then all of a sudden, and Hope, I guess, rounds out our list. But going back over to actor, let's go ahead and just add,
let's add Coward.
Whoever the lead for Coward is.
Yeah.
We'll see. There it is, Valentin.
Valentin. What's his name? Valentin Campagne. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll add him. We'll move up to number 5 above Bardem.
I'd put him over Rami.
No,
Rami at number 2.
Rami's gonna give us the magic trick, like you said.
We'll put him at number 3. We'll meet in the middle. We'll go above Stan and Gisler. Just because if Fatherland wins something, it's probably not actor, maybe. And I just don't think that they're gonna go American skewing actors unless it's something overtly showing like what Rami Malek could do. But Sebastian Stan, at least from what we know about the movie, I don't think will be overtly like performative, but who knows? So now that brings us a screenplay here.
This is historically kind of a extra film prize. Like it's not necessarily the best screenplay. It's just like, hey, we love this film. We didn't know where to reward it.
That's kind of where I want to put Hope in. Is if we can't fit into our top 3, I think this could be a place where they could recognize Hope.
Like
I guess the substance did it. I guess I'm just thinking like it's like a fun blockbuster. I don't know if this is the place for Hope.
I don't know.
Word here, honestly.
I don't know. We don't know much about Hope, but something we do know is, again, Thierry Frémaux said that it's a film that switches genres every 20 minutes or something.
I love that.
So it's like, it starts as like a rural film, then it becomes a Western, then it becomes a sci-fi film, then it becomes an action film. Like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. So maybe that is enough to reward it in screenplay.
So what else should we add in here? Because I would like to keep Hope at least in the top 3, but if we have to move it down, I think screenplay would be the best place to put it into.
Add Fjord.
Yeah.
Fjord. Definitely all of a sudden, like
Minotaur.
as a worst case scenario, because he's already won the screenplay prize. Definitely Sheep in the Box.
Yeah.
Because it's a high concept film. And then I would say
I would add Minotaur as well.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Although he's already won that prize again, but it's possible. And then I would also put as a backup option A Man of His Time. I think this is another category could pop up in.
Mm-hmm. I would also I'd say Bitter Christmas here on the off chance that they just love the Almodovar.
Oh, sorry, The Birthday Party. Definitely an option. Léa Missius is kind of better known as a writer than as a director. And yes, we know Emilia Perez, but she's co-written Paris 13th, also with Audiard. She's co-written Stars at Noon, which won the Grand Prix. She's co-written what's the foreign language, the Arnaud Desplechin film Oh Mercy. Like she's co-written with a lot of other French directors over the years. And she's we were talking about La Fémis with Julia Ducournau. She's a La Fémis girly. So they have a big screenwriting school there. Take her seriously for screenplay.
I'm also adding James Gray just because if we believe the reports that this might be his best. The only place I could see it maybe show up as screenplay, but it would be the very, very, very bottom of.
We hear that every time with James Gray.
I do agree. But in the event that this one is real, I think putting it like 8, 9 in screenplay is it's at least worth a mention here, just in the case of this one is actually real.
I think that James Gray should have a permanent cuck chair installed in the Théâtre Lumière.
It's him and Wes Anderson.
But Wes Anderson's never gunning for prizes, and he's never really in the running for prizes. James Gray, I feel like every year people are like, "This is the one. He's going to win the Palm finally," and then he never does. He never.
So if we have Gray at 9, let's just work our way up here from the other 8 movies that we have here, which should come down to number 8.
I would say Bitter Christmas at 8 because we know it's not great.
Okay.
Let's put I don't know what you want to win. Oh, you know what we don't have? We don't have Coward anywhere right now. But
We
do
don't
we
have
consider
Coward
it for
anymore, but
screenplay, though?
that's not a screenplay movie.
Okay, forget it. I think we should definitely put the birthday party at least like top 3.
Yeah. Can we put All of a Sudden down to 7? Because all of a sudden, Hamaguchi just won screenplay. Doesn't feel like he's going to repeat that. It's either he goes up or he goes down from his last prize.
How do you feel? Hold on. Actually, question. Has Koreeda ever won the screenplay prize other than Monster?
I think it's just Monster.
Monster, he did not write.
Oh.
Something to think about. And then, how strong do you feel about putting Fjord? Like, how do you think Fjord has to win a prize? Because if it has to win a prize, we have to put it here number 1.
It doesn't have to win a prize, but if it doesn't win a prize, then it's automatically out of the running for Academy Awards.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that this is, this is just a lame comparison to make, but it's very much in that sentimental value Slav last year. It's coming into the fest. Neon, we assume it's their number 1 contender. It's going to have some English, some non-English, also having some English stars in it as well. So it's like one of those things where, like, I don't think it needs to win, but if it doesn't win anything, then I agree with that, where it kind of kills its Oscar prospects just because of how we know Neon likes to set up their trajectory for their campaign. Where if it blinks at Cannes and they have the Palm winner, or they have another film that wins a prize or 2, then they're going to prioritize that movie over it.
Yeah, that's how I come down on it too. I think for me at this point, I need to count on Fjord winning something. Otherwise,
and if it's not here, I don't know where we could put it besides maybe like number 3 in picture.
Yeah, it could be a grand prize, but that doesn't feel like something that Park would go for.
Yeah, Fjord, maybe you guys really don't think, like, if Fjord doesn't win anything, and it's still like very well reviewed, and it's like one of those like omissions that's like, oh, weird, it's not in the prize list. Not even like acting prizes. Like, you don't think Sebastian Stan could make a run? You don't think?
I mean, maybe Stan less so, because I think lead actor is going to be stacked this year. I mean, we've already know about 3 or 4 contenders, but maybe Ryan Silva could. My thing is just like, if it doesn't get a prize, Neon, as you said in our intro here, has 4 or 5 other movies. Those are bound to have at least 1 or 2 winners there. And maybe it's like last year where Accident wins the big prize, but Surat lives on, Secret Agent lives on, since the Value wins one, but those are all films that also won a prize. So like,
we've had an absolute shit ton of Cannes competition films make it into the Academy Awards later on during the year. Since the last time that a Cannes film did really well at the Academy Awards without winning a prize at Cannes was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, you could say also The Apprentice, but that was just an actor contender in the end. It was also an American film.
I'm trying to think. Last year, what was the big, Academy friendly omission from the prize list? Because like,
there wasn't one.
Yeah, there wasn't one. Okay,
yeah,
I don't know.
going down the list, everything that got an Academy Award nomination that played at least got something. It may not have been a huge prize, but still got mentioned.
What it comes to for me is that, like you say, Dylan, it has nothing to do with how the film's received. It has to do with how Neon prioritizes things. We know that they're going to go hard for whatever their winners are. And so, yeah, to me, if Fjord blanks, it goes the way of Alpha, which is why I don't see it blanking. It's going to hang on. It's going to get something. Christian Mungiu has always won. I have no reason to doubt that this is going to step down.
You didn't get anything for RMN.
Oh yeah. Sorry, he lost for RMN. For Eminem.
Well, I guess my question comes to is, if we have to give it something here, do we feel better about screenplay, or do we feel better about?
I think
jury or Grand Prix, because I think we just flip those two. One gets screenplay, one gets jury.
I think Fjord's best chance is screenplay plus an actor prize.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, best chance. Okay, I see. I'm okay with having Fjord screenplay and Hope jury. We could flip them. It would be the same for me. Like the thing is that if we flip them, we're just kind of like predicting a scenario that's already been done in The Substance and what was it, like, I don't know, Amelia Perez or whatever that year. So here it's a little bit more of an original, quote unquote, like way. Although again, he's already won the screenplay prize in the past, but why he can win it again? Why the hell? The Dardenne won it a second. The Dardenne have won every single prize, so like that doesn't mean anything. But like, yeah, this, when we see the films, inevitably there are going to be some films that are not as strong as we hope. We don't know which one those are going to be yet. But right now, it's tough fitting everything in there. Like, I can see The Birthday Party getting a prize somewhere, and I can see Coward. We don't have anywhere right now. Like,
yeah. I mean, we could still throw it into one of these top three because, I mean, we could adjust these. We don't have Fatherland all of a sudden or Hope winning anywhere else. So if we do take them out here, they're going home prizeless. But we have Black Ball, we have Dreamed Adventure, we have Minotaur. We do have winning something. So
if we want to give ourselves some lenience, we can do what they did in 2022 and give a Grand Prix tie and a jury tie. But right now, I'm going to say I feel pretty good about Fatherland all of a sudden, and then a jury tie for Hope and the Black Ball.
Yeah, I would even. It doesn't. I mean, it's unfortunate that on Awards Expert you can't like make it a tie, because right now it looks like the Black Ball is not anywhere. But
yeah.
But
well, people who are watching the stream will know, and then obviously y'all have Awards Experts accounts as well, which we'll link in the description. So like you can see your updates, especially when you're on the ground seeing these films. Who knows? Maybe something that we're expecting to hit strong underperforms, gets lesser reactions, and maybe a movie that we don't have anywhere eventually is like, oh, this is best of the fest. We got to throw this somewhere.
Yeah. Or maybe Hope is just like really like I don't want to say stupid, but like pure entertainment, and like has no other ambitions other than being like crazy and like a masala genre.
But if that's the case, then why is it here and not out of competition?
Because it's good, you know, and
Eddington.
Eddington has more.
Eddington has stuff on its mind.
Yeah, it's trying to be about our times or what. But I'm trying to say that maybe it's not Hope, but maybe there's a film right now that we have in our list or that we're considering, and when we watch it, we're like, this is fantastic. It's also just not jury coded, like a jury getting a prize coded, you know. So that's, yeah.
Well, for my small brain knowledge of Cannes, are there other prizes that they hand out that aren't here on Awards Expert?
Sometimes they invent a special prize, right? Like last year, Resurrection got a special award. So sometimes they invent something like that, but
I don't see, like, if there was a special prize, I looked at the lineup and I'm like, I wouldn't see what would fit, because Resurrection is like this really ambitious, like hard to place in a box film, and then Seed of the Sacred Fig is rewarded because of its political, like the way it exists, you know, as like this act of bravery, and there's not a single film I think that really fits that box.
Well, I guess one more prize that is brought up here is Moonfall here saying Palm Dog. So we don't know which movies have a dog right now, but if we had to guess,
Hope will have a dog. It would make sense.
Oh, yeah. Maybe Fjord, maybe there's a dog in the family unit.
Yeah.
Just
looking down here.
I didn't
anything
even
else?
get to mention this. Did you guys see the tweet where someone was like, "Oh, great, another European human slop," in reference to Fjord?
I didn't.
It's so ridiculous. European human slop.
How fun!
Yeah, let me pull up OK Buddy Cinephile. This is so ridiculous.
Yeah, we've seen, this is something else I can mention, but we've seen, I mean, you can never win when you're programming film festivals. There's always going to be people who complain. On one end, you have people complaining that there's not enough populist American studio films, and then on the other hand, you have people like from the more like deep art house side of things who are like, where like this isn't a lineup that's taking very many risks. You don't have like you don't have a documentary in there. You don't have filmmakers who experiment with form in there. You don't have slow cinema in there. So like it's hard to please everybody, but it is true that we are lacking one or two like kind of deep art house films in the lineup.
Well, I see a comment down here from Moonfall. Shout out EO. We need to figure out why we're all here without knowing obviously how the movies go. Is what is going to be this year's EO, Perfect Days,
Or what's our
Flow,
meme movie?
the meme movie that goes on to get the international feature nomination. Obviously, maybe it's not in competition. Maybe it's like Flow, where it's an out of competition title. But there's always one.
The Black Ball.
What's the Black Ball about again?
The Black Ball is the it's the gay sound of falling, where it's multiple different periods in time in Spanish history, and it's sort of like a queer campy awakening.
Interesting.
Yeah, I see Moonfall mentioning AIDS musical as a potential, but Ira Sachs is not a meme filmmaker, whereas Los Javis, they would make some good memes. They were also Drag Race. They're high camp.
Sachs wouldn't be eligible for international feature, so wouldn't fit the bill of Flow or Perfect Days or EO. What was the one last year? Oh, it was Surat.
Surat.
So yeah.
We'll actually,
have one again.
Let me pose this question to you two. Out of the lineup we have right now, which films do you think is getting an international film nomination?
Okay.
Here, let me pull it back up here, so that way we can look at it.
And obviously, for which country?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fatherland for Poland is pretty safe. That seems really, really strong. I mean, Fjord for Romania is another one that's likely going to be very, very strong. All of a sudden, I wonder if France would submit it or if Japan would submit it, because Japan is really resistant to submitting the same filmmaker multiple times.
I think it would have to be France.
I would agree.
Yeah, I think France would have to do it. The Black Ball would make a lot of sense for Spain.
Yes.
South Korea would make a lot of sense for Hope. Coward for Belgium.
Hope might not get a nomination. We don't know might not qualify. We don't know the percentage of language yet. Yeah.
That's the same thing for Fjord, though. They both are probably
Fjord is going to be a mixture of Romanian and Norwegian. Renata Rhymes.
Okay, I thought it was English too for Stan.
I thought it was predominantly English with Norwegian. And
really? I thought Stan was speaking Romanian in the film.
Yeah, but I think we haven't seen the film. I think we know somebody actually who's. But if I understand correctly, this is a family unit. She's Norwegian. He's Romanian. They don't speak each other's languages, and they.
PA says English.
Yeah, I would trust PA.
Yeah.
Which I would say, if Stan's speaking another language the whole time, put him as actor winner. But if he's primarily doing English, then I think we can stay with what we have.
He'll do a bit of Romanian, but yeah. Coward.
Coward's a really good choice. Yeah, so I think at the moment I would say Fatherland, all of a sudden for France, Coward for Belgium, The Black Ball for Spain.
Yeah.
And that leaves an open slot for a Venice movie.
Yeah.
Which could be the Netflix one that I'm blanking on the name of right now. Possible Love.
Oh, yeah, Possible Love. Oh, yeah, that could also be the Korean submission instead of Hope.
Yes. Although I want to say that if Hope wins a prize at Cannes, like, you can kiss Possible Love goodbye. That is just stronger, you know? I wonder if, again, I know that I'm biased and I'm trying to predict this, but like, I think A Man of Our Time could be the French submission, in which case maybe all of a sudden is Japan's submission instead. We haven't talked about the Japanese films in competition very much, but we have 3, and that's we have Sheep in the Box all of a sudden, but we also have Nagi Notes by Koji Fukada. We haven't talked about it at all, and that's partly because I just don't think it's going to be like a highlight. I think it's going to be nice, but
I think
not.
Koji Fukada is someone that we keep thinking is going to drop a masterpiece, and then every time it's just a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah,
Love on Trial I thought was really mid. Love Life we thought was going to be huge at Venice 2022, and it just did nothing.
It's his very first time in competition. Maybe that says something, but I don't know. It's about 2 artists who talk, and make art.
No, it's not speaking to me right now.
Yeah.
Well, I guess before we wrap up, I'll throw up this graphic as it covers half of me. But drop your final questions in. We'll answer them all up as we continue talking about the can lineup. And then we'll basically wrap up. Like Matt said, he's going to have a video going in depth about the lineup at large, not just competition. Matt, I'll let you talk about it here right now.
I want to know what are your highlights from the other sections as well, because we've only talked competition right now.
That's true. We've only talked competition. I have not done my deep dive into all of it yet. Like I said, I've been very busy. Like the day that the lineup dropped, I was on set for 13 hours. With travel time, I was out of the house for 14 hours on set. And so I have not gone through everything yet. So I'm working my way through, but just through a cursory glance, obviously I'm really excited to see Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma in Uncertain Regard. I'm very excited for Club Kid from Jordan Firstman. Those 2 are the ones that are immediately jumping out at me. But those are just because I'm I just know those filmmakers, and I've yet to research into everyone else. So I will have more in depth for that later. Out of competition, I'm surprised to see Nicholas Winding Refn out of competition for Her Private Hell, and that's kind of killed me. And yeah, Soderbergh having the John Lennon doc is ugh. I don't know what to think about that. Also, Ron Howard being here. And the last thing I'll say before handing it over to you guys, midnight screenings. I have been burned too many times by midnight screenings, but damn it, they might just have me going back for Roma Elastica by Bertrand Mandico.
I agree. You always want to be wary, and you can bet your ass I'm not going to go see Colony. I'm not going to go see Sanguine. I'm going to go see Fulfill and Roma Elastica.
Yeah.
I guess down here to Jam's comment is, Matt, you kind of just answered this, but to Arna, what are some of your most anticipated, if you had to pick 3 between comp and out of comp?
Between comp and out of comp? Give your 3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be anything
3,
at the fest.
Everything. Well, I mean, the 3 would all be in comp. I'm gonna shout out 3 that I'm looking at outside, because Un Certain Regard by design, they're almost all filmmakers you haven't heard of very much, because there are a lot of fresh discoveries, first, second films, that kind of stuff. The ones I'm looking at right now from Un Certain, well, like I said, I'm excited for the new Dupieux. I'm excited for Roma Elastica. The Kiyoshi Kurosawa. I'm not very familiar with Kiyoshi Kurosawa, but I'm sure it'll be very good. I'm very excited for one film in the special screening selection, which is an Iranian documentary called Rehearsals for a Revolution. This, I think, will be one of the documentary highlights of the festival in a festival that historically doesn't have nearly enough documentaries. This is from a filmmaker who's had a lot of acclaimed shorts, and she's doing a kind of a personal account of Iran and of quiet revolutions in Iran. It's the only Iran representation we have this year, and quite an interesting moment for Iran, as we know, politically speaking. in the news a lot. And so I'm very curious about that one. And in Un Certain Regard, I'm looking at the new film from Valentina Morel. It's the very first time that Costa Rica is in the official selection. And her previous film called I Have Electric Dreams, I've heard nothing but good things about. I might even watch it in preparation. So that's one I'm really looking forward to. It seems to be a bit of a coming back to your hometown type of film. But again, I've heard very good things about her last film, so I'm very intrigued about that one. And then, there are a lot of interesting sounding films from countries we're not that familiar with. There's a Lithuanian basketball film, kind of a basketball biopic, but apparently it doesn't feel like a biopic, called Ulya, I think. There's a film called Congo Boy, which is from the Central African Republic. I don't think I've seen a single film from there, so it's always an opportunity to watch films from there. There's a Nepalese film, which looks kind of interesting. But I'm excited for the Chilean film, The Meltdown, which is from the director of Chile '96, Manuela Martelli. And it's an interesting premise where is it during the Cold War or something like that? It takes place in like a ski station, and I think there's like a German skier or something who gets lost. Oh, sorry, who disappears, and people think there's like rumblings. Oh, is it because like for political reasons, a murder and abduction or something like that? And it's from the point of view of a little girl who's kind of like witnessing adults kind of figuring this out or something. So it seems very interesting. And then within competition, Hope, obviously. Hope sounds dope. It's going to be the fun film in the competition. The Black Ball, because it sounds wild and awesome. And then like Hamaguchi, man. I'm so excited for Hamaguchi. I think he's going to be... And then shout out Notre Salut. That's my kind of like under the radar. I think like you said, in the screenplay, it was at the very bottom. Like, people don't realize that that this is going to be the French highlight yet. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be the French highlight. Look out for it.
When it comes down to the international feature selection being between All of a Sudden and a Man of His Time, which way are you leaning?
I mean, I'll wait for the films to play.
That's no fun.
Obviously, we know that France is now okay with selecting non-French filmmakers. They selected Jafar Panahi last year, but that was also in a cohort that had very little. Like it
was also a very special case.
Yeah, it like the second in line was Richard Linklater for Nouvelle Vague, right? Yeah. I'm not sure. France is hard to predict. Something tells me it's going to be A Man of His Time, if it is what I'm thinking it is, if it is that good. And then Hamaguchi is gonna either suffer from not being selected or have to bet on Japan, or Japan pulls a miracle and submits it. That's how because like, what do they have? Maybe like, what is Japan going to submit? Like, they're not going to submit Koreeda again. We don't know what's coming in Venice. They're not going to submit Kurosawa because they did that like 2 years ago. So I guess they could submit Nagi notes, but like, really, are they going to submit Nagi notes? Maybe, I don't know.
Wait, I see Pierre Alexandre saying that Japan cannot submit All of a Sudden.
Oh shit. Okay, well, rip Hamaguchi. Maybe he's going to get a palm.
Maybe it's Godzilla -0 that Japan does.
Oh my god, that's true. Yeah, they could. Yeah.
Well, I guess my big question, this might be the last thing before we finish up today, is there's no Brazil this year. What are we going to do without Brazil?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Race?
The lineup is not finished, and we don't have the parallel section. Brazil could show up.
They could.
But it's not going to show up in the way of like, we're not going to have a Kleber Mendonça Filho. We're not going to have a Walter Salles.
Well, Walter Salles was Venice.
Yeah, Walter Salles was Venice, but still, like, there's no Brazilian film from a filmmaker of that stature that's like over the horizon.
And you know what? I'm happy for that because I'm exhausted from the Brazil standing. I need a break.
How's award season supposed to live without Brazil on the front lines everywhere?
I still gotta make that video, and I will make it. It's in the pipeline. It's just so busy, but I will be making that Brazil video at some point soon.
You gotta watch like 20 like local cult classics to make sure you don't.
Yeah, well, I'm totally okay with it not being like the widest range. Like I know I've seen a big variety of classics. I think the one film that I'm missing, which is actually on my watch list right now, and I will be watching soon, is Pixore. Or Pixore. Yeah, it's coming up on my watch list. But yeah. Otherwise, like I've got a top 5 that are all 10 out of 10s for me from Brazil. So
there you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that video. Hopefully, can either broaden my Brazilian visions, whatever I'm trying to say, but also because I mean, Brazil. Hopefully, they show up and tell you, "Hey, great choices."
Yeah,
and you're still wrong.
No, I think that they'll curb stomp me for not including City of God. I'm still here.
Moonfall's here already.
I just saw the comment. Oh boy, Matt, watch. Maybe you're gonna anger Brazil further with your basic.
No, because I think a basic list would be one that's City of God, I'm Still Here, The Secret Agent. Like yeah, I'm not gonna have any of those.
Before we end, I want to know, Dylan, from everything you've heard, from your taste. From what piques your interest, what's your anticipated right now?
I mean, hope for a multitude of reasons is clearly my number one. I think it sounds so fun. It has cast members who I like the majority of things that I've seen them in the past, between either it's Vikander, Taylor Russell, or Michael Fassbender. They rarely are in films. Maybe the films I don't love, but I still enjoy their performances inside the movies. I mean, Fatherland, 1949, just from the conversation around, I really enjoyed Cold War as well. So I'm excited to see him back and see what he can bring to the table. So I would say from the competition, those would be my big 2. I'm excited for All of a Sudden, but 3 hours and 20 minutes sounds very daunting because Drive My Car is one of my favorite movies. You don't feel the 3 hours, but an extra 30 minutes, you might feel it a little bit. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing those. Are probably
an
my
extra
top
15
in the competition slate.
Come on.
I mean, credits is probably 15, 20 minutes. Coward's one that I'm not sure how I'll feel because Close I adore. I haven't seen his other movie. I know people really don't like his other movie, so maybe Close was a one-hit wonder, but it's one that I will prioritize, whether it's at my local festival or whenever it comes to the indie theaters, regardless of the quality. I didn't get to see Alpha. Alpha played in theaters for 4 days here, and the day I had scheduled to show it was day number 5, and they took it out for Mario. So Mario screwed me over from seeing Alpha.
Also, I'll just very quickly mention the one film we forgot to mention entirely is Gentle Monster by Marie Kreutzer, and she's the director of Corsage with Vicky Krieps a few years ago. It's her first time in competition. I read the synopsis, and I don't love Corsage, and I read the synopsis, and I'm like, this sounds boring as hell. Maybe it'll be good, but yeah, that's partly why we didn't mention it.
I don't like Corsage personally, so.
Hey, I've seen Corsage.
Yeah.
I didn't like it either.
The answer here, no, neither of us forced Dylan to watch Evil Does Not Exist.
I have seen it, though.
I did force my dad to watch it, and he hated it, so.
I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't to the level of Drive My Car, but it wasn't a painful viewing experience to something akin to like Testament of Anne Lee from a few months ago. Still, I don't think that's the worst movie I've ever seen, but that was one of the worst festival experiences I've ever had in my life.
Experiences, yeah.
It was not an enjoyable watch.
Evil Does Not Exist, my favorite film of 2024.
There you go.
We got it. I'm gonna rewatch it sometime soon.
But yeah,
I'll try to watch. I'll try to watch and hold me accountable. I'll try to watch Happy Hour before the festival.
Oh yeah, do
That's
it.
the one Hamaguchi I'm missing, and I haven't been watching it. I've had it on my laptop forever, and I just haven't gotten to it because it's 5 hours. So
This is the hard thing, Arno, about doing the parallel challenge together is that like there are films that would be the obvious choice to watch,
Mm.
but we can't watch because like one of us has already seen it.
And also, like, I'll just say this also, like, viewers of the live probably already know that the can parallel thing that we do, can parallel competition that we do, and obviously we take films that are good for that work with what we've seen and with what we haven't seen, but there are films that like would be perfect parallels that we're just not gonna rewatch. I know that for Hope, for example, The Wailing, his previous film, is a film that I'll try to catch up with that one anyways.
Yeah.
But that's a film that also mixes genres, notably the police, noir, detective, and like supernatural, fantastic kind of horror. And in the same way that Hope is going to mix genres, that one is going to as well. And then we're going to watch something else. That would be a perfect parallel, you know. So we have all of a sudden the perfect parallel is Drive My Car, but everybody's seen that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we
Parallel Tales, I think The Past would be the perfect
yes
parallel for it,
which I haven't seen.
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
I've ruined that one because I've seen that one.
Well, I do want to thank both of y'all for coming on today. It's really fun always to chat with both of y'all together. I know you have to talk to Matt quite a lot, but I enjoy our Filmball recap videos, and now hopefully maybe more often, maybe we can schedule some of these, especially after Cannes, once y'all see the movies, to get a little bit more in depth, because obviously there'll be the series that comes out on YouTube, but to get more in detail with some of the titles.
Yeah, well, it's good to be on here for one of these. I hope to, as soon as my time frees up, be able to join more.
But yeah, thank y'all for joining. Everyone out there, thank you for tuning in. I don't know there'll be one next week, but you're either in the Discord or you follow our YouTube, so you'll see whenever the next one is. So until next time, bye.